Driven by numbers, decisions shape destinies. Every investment tells a story. Every policy shifts the future. Every market move creates opportunity. At SOUQ News Television and the hour 95.9 FM, we decode the markets, analyze the numbers, and track the forces shaping Africa's growth. From boardrooms to capital flows, from policy reforms to capital flows, we follow the money and the momentum. Because progress isn't accidental, it is built, measured, reported. SOUQ News Television, where business leads, economies evolve, where development begins.
Hello Lagos, make we yarn.
Hello, if this POS matter, don't pass your call. Person go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait oh, wetin really happen?
Then they use fake alert the warriors.
Okay, so mona listen to If you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbefi. They don't walk that road where they worry for that local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what, development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
My name is Yinka Babalola.
My name is Ijama Pelo Okoro.
My name is Joshua Hassan.
I am Rotarian or Mosunde Lawson.
It's Ife Rita Ejeze. My friends call me Ife.
My name is Rotarian Lola Dare.
I'm inviting you to keep watching SOUQ News. It's the right station to tune to.
I like SOUQ News. SOUQ News is good.
I want to charge you all to listen to SOUQ News, watch the news.
You can have unlimited news first time.
Find SOUQ News. Be with SOUQ News. Never switch off. You are better for it. SOUQ News is the real thing.
Listen to their coverage and you'll be glad you did.
Turn to your YouTube, turn to your Instagram, turn to all your digital channels and look for SOUQ News.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Please, guys, keep watching
SOUQ News.
Yes, my name is Ustaz Elias Oriaditu Adekumbi. I was born and bred in Lagos. I'm from Lagos State, from Sadekura area. So down to Surulere. You know, part of Lagosians, they are in Surulere, they are in the Butemeta. So we all grew up there. So including Maryland also. So, but back to Ireland where I study Arabic. I also went to Ibadan. I also went to Cotonou for when it comes to tertiary level. That's where I study my Arabic. So basically right now, I am on my master's level. Right now, I'm the vice imam of Masjid, that is Mosque Ajadilawa at Tokumbo. Ustaz means a lot of things. One who teaches Quran, teaches the Hadith and Arabic school. Also one who gives lectures in the mosques, because I also give lectures in different mosques, like 5 to 6 mosques. So that is why somebody who does that is regarded as Ustaz. Basically, somebody who teaches somebody knowledge, especially when it comes to Islamic knowledge. That's called Ustaz. But when somebody is called Imam, the one who leads prayer, the one who leads a mosque. So whenever he's not around, the deputy acts on his behalf. So that's my position. That's why I'm called Vice Imam But why I'm called Ustaz is because I teach Arabic in 2 to 3 schools. So that's why I'm called Ustaz. You know, there are challenges everywhere. So some of the challenges we face is those kids, you know, what we teach them, what we tell them, sometimes when they get home, their parents don't understand those things. So coming back the next day, we'll face challenges. What we taught them yesterday or 2 days ago, we need to repeat it. So I didn't mean what we teach them today, yesterday, their parents also follow the path. So we'll face challenges. So we'll face challenges from those kids. We also face challenges in the mosques. When you lead prayer, you know, we have different Muslims with different thoughts. You have your own idea, they have their own idea. So sometimes when you give lectures, people ask questions. So you find out that this question you are asking me is not supposed to be done like this. So he tells you, no, there's one who starts. I was with him at Alagbado or at Ikeja. This is what he told me. He said, I can do it like this. I can also do it like this. So there are also challenges. So you also face challenges from, you know, ladies, the way they dress. Sometimes you need to correct them. You don't come to mosque like this. You know, this is mosque, is a respected place. You know, to respect this place. So we face challenges also in that area. So we also face challenges, you know, dealing with people. You know, a society of Lagos State, we have the Christians, we have people of different religion. So how do you relate with them? You know, they don't understand your own religion. He or she goes to church on Sunday. So how do you want to relate with him? You know, your mosque is beside his house or our house. So how do you want to relate? You also face challenges. Sometimes people come to you and say, the lecture you are giving goes against my own teaching, goes away the way I... So all these are challenges, you know, which I believe as an ustaz or imam, you need to face it and you need to keep telling people this is what Islam says and this is what Prophet Muhammad says. Yes, we need to tolerate people. Yes, that's the teaching of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You need to tolerate people. The Christians, the idol worshippers, you need to tolerate them. But like Allah has said, lakum dinukum waliyadin. Your own religion is different, my own religion is different. And there's no compulsion in religion. So in my family, I have Christian. So I need to relate with him. I need to relate with her. Sometimes she does something good to me. Sometimes she borrows me money. Sometimes she's giving me advices. Sometimes she tells me this. And she's a Christian. So I need to tolerate her. We grew up together. We grew up together. So probably she decided to become a Christian. So there's no compulsion in religion. All I need to tell her, Islam is good. This Islam tells you. If she said, no, this is my religion. I want to practice Christianity. No, you don't have to do anything. When you want to achieve people or you want to gain more people into Islam, you need to tolerate people. You need to tolerate them, their characters, their religion. You need to tolerate because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually tolerated people when he was in Mecca. Also when he went to Medina, he tolerated people. So tolerance is a key to success in Islam. So whether you're a Christian, whether you're an idol worshipper, Islam tolerates you. But what Islam says is your religion should be your religion. My own should be my own. So if I have tolerated you, it doesn't mean because I don't go to church with you. No, I go to mosque, you go to church. When it comes to things we can do together, we do it together. When it comes to building the society, when it comes to building the community, we do it together. You will tolerate people in your house, in your building, and so on. So tolerance is the key to success in Islam. In fact, when we try to cast our mind back to 70s, we were born in the mid-70s, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 90s. When you look at it, there were nothing like, there was no social media. There was no social media. All we know is television. We watch television, we listen to radios. Those are the things we know. So probably when it's 12 o'clock, you go and sleep, or when it's 9, they tell you bed to time, early to bed, early to rise. But in the 2000, when we celebrated new millennium, you never knew things like that would come up. So in Islam, when it comes to social media, Islam has positive and negative aspect of it. What are the positive way? What are the when you talk about the negative? Social media actually destroys so many homes, but they don't get to realize that. Now, when you talk about social media, on social media, you can listen to Quran. On social media, I can listen to news. On social media, I gain so many things. I can learn mathematics, I can learn English. That is why Islam does not condemn it outrightly. He said, no, there are benefits in this thing. But there are also the bad aspect of this social media. When it comes to watching blue films, when it comes to watching things like pornographic photos, pornographic pictures, in such a way you there's no way you can control the children. Probably you have a phone, but your children don't have a phone. You go to sleep around 9 o'clock, they can take your phone, they start operating it. As a grown-up person, you can manage it and know what to watch on that phone. But she's a small girl, probably 10 years or 12 years. What does she know about pornography films? She goes to pornography films, different things that are not acceptable in Islam. So those aspects, Islam does not accept it when it comes to social media. But when it comes to aspect of listening to Quran, listening to lectures, listening to radios, listening to so many things that contribute to somebody's life positively, it is accepted in Islam. But the other way around, where you watch pornographic pictures and things like that, Islam does not accept it. So in Islam, there's positive and negative way when it comes to social media. It's okay. I also heard from my cousin that stays in Ireland, that is Dublin, that very soon AI, to some extent, will be banned. So AI, somebody can put on clothes. In 2 minutes, you find out you see somebody's naked. You know, I called him. Sister, I saw your nude picture now. I said, why will you see my nude picture? Where? I said, this is it now. Then I copied and I sent it to him. This is done by AI. This is, so to some extent, I heard from him that AI will be banned. So to some extent, I think social media should be restricted to some age. Maybe when you are 20, your 20s or early 20s, you can begin to use social media or make use of phone. But when it comes to your teen ages, I think I'm in support of that. I support that. But, you know, the issue is government wants to sponsor Hajj. Who does the government know that is the right person to go to the Hajj? Hajj is one of the pillars of Islam. The law says whosoever that denies Hajj as a Muslim, that there's no Hajj, I don't believe in a Hajj, and is a Muslim, he has denied all the pillars of Islam. So who wants to go there? Somebody says, my girlfriend is in London, we'll meet at Hajj, let's meet at Hajj. Does that person want to go to Hajj? So government wants to sponsor the Hajj. It's acceptable in Islam. But I think government should scrutinize that. Who and who should go to Hajj? Who is up to that level to go to Hajj? Are you qualified to go to Hajj? So there should be scrutiny. What do you know about Hajj? Do you observe your 5 salats? Do you do this? What do you know about Islam? It's not just taking anybody to Hajj. No. So this happened in our country. So which I don't accept that. But I accept government sponsoring Hajj, but should be scrutinized. First and foremost, Ramadan is an act of ibadah. That's the worship. That's the first thing. Somebody who wants to fast, You need to know that Ramadan is an act of ibadah. You want to worship Allah. You want to worship your God. Secondly, it is one of the pillars of Islam. We have 5 pillars of Islam. Ramadan is one of it. So that is number 2. Number 3 is it has a spiritual upliftment. It will uplift you. It brings you closer to Allah. Why? Because all those virtues, all those things that you practice that are not acceptable, probably fornication, drinking alcohol, backbiting, you know that when it's Ramadan, you need to drop all those things. You need to put it down. So it makes you closer to Allah. And Allah wants you to be closer to Him. Allah wants you to be closer to Him. So that is why Ramadan is not an ordinary, or it's not the way people look at it. It's an act of ibadah. You want to worship Allah. It's one of the pillars of Islam. And there are so many things, or so many ibadah, they are attached to Ramadan. Somebody observing Ramadan does not pray. Does he feel his Ramadan will be accepted? Somebody who is fasting and is watching pornographic picture, is watching blue film, he said, it doesn't mean. Somebody who is fasting doesn't wake up in the midnight. No. That's why I said Ramadan has so many ibadah that is attached to it. And as you have said, 2 days to Ramadan. Today is 28th of the Shaban. Tomorrow is going to be 29. So we call that 29 Yom Shaku. What is Yom Shaku is we are expecting the moon to be sighted. Ramadan is being is either we count Shaban to be 30 or moon sighting. So there's going to be moon sighting tomorrow. That's why we call Yom Shaku. Shaban is completed, 29. We are now waiting for the scholars. We are now waiting for the people who are into moon sighting. Will the moon be sighted tomorrow? If the moon will be sighted tomorrow, that means Wednesday will be 1st of Ramadan. If the moon is not sighted tomorrow, that means we are counting Shaban to be 30. So Thursday is going to be 1st of Ramadan. You know, in Islam, we have 2 judge, or let me say 2 people that makes law in Islam. Who are those people? God and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. During the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they do moon sighting. When it's 29 of Shaban, people who are in villages, they come to him. The moon has been sighted. Yes. Are you sure? Say La ilaha illallah. Say there is no deity worship than Allah. If he says it, Prophet Muhammad said tomorrow the moon will begin the fasting. So moon sighting, it is not what is being by the scholars. No, it is what is being done since Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was prophet. So it is not now. It is the laid down principle by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's not that we are waiting for somebody. It is what is being done during his time up to this moment. That is why we say we are waiting for moon sighting. Okay, we have a particular day for Ramadan. Why? You know, there's January to February. In Islam, there's Muharram to Zulhijjah. So sometimes people look onto February. No, we say no, it is Shaban. So people say, why is it February 12 this year? Another year is going to be February 2. Why is it like that? I said, no, we are using the moon to count it. We are not using the sun. We are using the moon. We are not using the, what's it called, calendar, Gregorian calendar. No, we are not using that. We are using the moon. So is it that 29 or 30? Why is it that 29 or 30? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that months in Ramadan, in Islam, is 29. Wa ingum alaykum. When there is this cloud is not clear, so you cannot see it, count the months to be 30. So it is what he has said. So that is why, is that 29 or 30? But 29, it is 29. But no, don't bring argument up. When it's 29, then we are waiting for the moon to be sighted. So in order to begin another month. So the moon is not being sighted. Count that month to be 30 and begin after that 30. So that is why the scholars, you will now hear, is either 29 or 30. So that is why in Islam, this year, they will fast Ramadan to be 29. Another year is going to be 30. That's just the explanation behind it. What does it remind the Muslim? It reminds the Muslim fear of Allah. Because when Allah was saying it, but I would like shaitan, bismillah rahman, say, Ya you are ladina amanu, I call unto you believer. Kutiba alaykum siyam. I have made fasting upon you. I have made it compulsory. Come on, kutiba ala ladina min qablikum. Like the way I made him compulsory on those that came before you. So by the end of it, you're able to have the fear of Allah. It reminds you, fear of Allah. What we lack in this Nigeria is fear of Allah. How will you come to an hospital? How will you come to an area and what? And say you're a bandit. You put on bomb and say you take up to 10 children. You take them away for rituals. What do we lack? It is fear. Fear of Allah. So that is why we don't see it. Allah said, Inna lil muttaqina mafaza. It is only the people that fear Allah that will be in the Jannah. So it reminds the Muslims, fear of Allah. So it's the society as a whole does not fear Allah. Like I was going, my money falls from my pocket. When the money fell down from my pocket, somebody behind me took it immediately. Somebody now said, no, it belongs to these stars. He said, no, I saw it on the ground. Does the ground bring down money? No, it's not done. It is fear of Allah. So it reminds all Muslims, fear of Allah. Yes, Islam has been solution to parenting. But there are 3 things Islam has created when it comes to parenting. The first one is the family, which is the father and the mother. You know, where there's no more parenting is single parents. Allah does not encourage single parents. It is a man and a woman that brings up a child. If a woman brings up a child, you find that when that child wants to act, it acts emotionally. Because most women act emotionally with their emotion. Also a man. So it's going to be a man and a woman that brings up a child. That's the first one. The second one is the mosque. When we are kids, they send us to the mosque to go and pray. They send us to Arabic school. We call it Ilekeu. They send us to there. When you offend, you came back home, you come, he tells your parents, Daddy, where is Abdul Karim? Abdul Karim he came back, I saw him, he's in the parlor. This is what he did. No, we need to beat you. So also, parenting, there is no more cane. They said, spare the child and spoil the rod. Spare the rod and spoil the child. Spare the rod and spoil the child. They said we should not beat our children. When you beat somebody, it takes you to human rights. In those days, when you offend your daddy or you offend somebody who's a grown-up person in the society, he beats you. Nothing happened. But now, you go to the police station, somebody slapped my child. How old is the child? 3 years, 4 years. So Islam talks about parenting. One is the family. 2, the mosque. You go to the mosque, you listen to lecture, you bring your child, you listen to askar, you listen to those things. Thirdly, you take your children to madrasa, ilekeu. They also teach them. Those 3 things. The madrasa is also called the school. I can remember in those days when you go to school, you bring your cutlass, you go to cut the things like that. The principal, the teacher, they beat you. When you go, if you have done something wrong, you'll be beaten. So those things
contributed to most of us that were born in the 60s, 70s, 80s, has contributed to our life. That is why we look upright in the society. But why those things are failed? It is because we have removed parenting. But we call single parent, we call it parenting. I don't accept that, and Islam does not accept that as a parenting. Yes, my view is because Islam does not condemn it. When you're a Yoruba man, you teach your children how to speak Yoruba. It's just like most of the time we speak English, we look like an alien in our country. Yes, that's the way I look at it. You cannot speak, but an Hausa man teaches his daughter or his son how to speak Hausa. Even though he stays in VI, even though he stays in Ikoyi, he knows how to speak. But a Yoruba man does not do that. So I'm in support of that. In fact, in those days, there are teachers that teach us Yoruba, that you know how to put do, re, mi, those things. So it is acceptable. So to some extent, I believe in Yoruba land, you should be allowed to speak Yoruba in the school to some extent. But now when you speak Yoruba, they say you spoke vernacular. Write it down. You pay 15 naira tomorrow. You pay 10 naira tomorrow. No. I don't accept that. There is religious body. I think they should act on that. They should set standard. They should set down the rules, lay down the rules. People will be able to follow the rules. Just like the schools, there are rules they follow. So the Ilekeu should also be like that. Like you have said, let's assume somebody left this Ilekeu. It goes to another Ilekeu. Where are you coming from? From this Ilekeu. Why? Why do you leave this Ilekeu? Like those days they do in school. Why are you are in GS3? You are in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. How can you come to our school? Where you school somewhere before? Where? What happened there? Go and take letter from that school, understand, and bring it here. So, if you said Ilekeu should be regulated, fine. But they are religious body, Islamic religious body. They are ulamas, they are fast. They can sit down and do that. This is what we want. This is what we don't want. So everything will be done in a proper manner. You know, we are in even some Ilekeu are done in, what will you call it, on social media. So we can also do that. They are done on Zoom. You will be in Ikeja, I'll be in London, you're also my student, I'll be in Nigeria. We'll meet at the same Zoom. So there's nothing wrong if Ilekeu is being regulated. But I think it should be done by the scholars, the ulama, and the religion bodies. When we are talking about political leaders, you know, we are talking about from the president to the governors, down to the, we also talk about the senators. We also talk about the local level, the local government and things like that. First and foremost, like I used to tell people when we are making an argument, said, somebody will say, if I'm a president today, this is what I will do. This is what I said, no. There's more to that power. When something is called power, there's more to it. Understand? It is only few governors, it's only few presidents, understand, that will not have Godfather. And Godfather dictates what you want to do. But we, as a citizen, we expect more from governors. We expect more from president. But, things like that, understand, most of them are under what? Are under the act, understand, according to the Godfather. Understand? As a governor of Lagos State, or as a governor of any state, we expect so much. But like I was, to the best of my knowledge, I would say the best governor so far in Lagos State is Jakonde, because it is government of the masses. It is the governor of the masses. to the best of my knowledge. Why? Because of the housing project and so many things he has done. Likewise, Fashola. Understand? He wants to, when it comes to area of discipline, when it comes to area of, yes, when it comes to area of discipline, we can talk about Fashola. Adin being what he has done for 8 years, when it comes to the aspect of discipline, Adin being the next governor, act the way Fashola has done, I think we'll be proud of Lagos State. Democracy is the most expensive system of government. So you are being sponsored as a governor. You are being sponsored as a president. Mind you, those money spent need to be realized back. By so doing, I think you cannot meet up to what all the citizens want from you. Let's assume we are 10 in number. We sponsored you to become the governor. We expect so much from you. I spent 1 billion, somebody spent 1 billion. Those billions for you to become the governor or to become a president. What do you think is going to happen? No, you need to pay us back. That is the system of democracy. So there's going to be deficiency. No, those money spent for you need to be realized back. Probably through projects. Or there are ways the politicians go to do that. But I believe because of that, there's going to be deficiency. It's going to affect one area or the other because you are not the one that sponsored yourself. I think we all know this. Yes, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Yes. It's going to rain because Godfather dictates. Godfather tells you what you're going to do, not the citizen. Godfather tells you. If Godfather tells you, I have spent 10 billion for you to become the governor, how do I make that money back? So you need to look for a way for him to look for the money back. Yes, of course. I look at it that you want to fight corruption, but I believe you have gotten to that stage through corruption. I don't think it's easy. So how do you want to fight corruption? You have gotten to that level through corruption. So how do you want to fight corruption? No, it's not done. Yes, we prepare for it. Like I have said, tomorrow is going to be Yom SOUQ. That is, we'll be expecting the moon sighting. So not somebody will tell us, you are going to start your fast on Wednesday. No. Just the moon sighting. So we are telling all Nigerian Muslims that tomorrow is going to be Yom SOUQ. So we are going to wait for the moon sighting. We are going to wait for Sultan to announce. You see, we are not waiting for Saudi because we are not in the same continent. And we are not close. That is what the ulama says. We can use the moon sighting of a country closer to us, our neighboring country. We can use that, but we cannot use Saudi. Why we can use Saudi is the Hajj. There's what we call Arafah. That's the 9th of Zulhajj. So we want to fast then. Then 10th of it's going to be Hajj. So we follow Saudi then. But when it comes to Ramadan, we wait for Sultan to announce tomorrow. If Sultan says tomorrow that the moon is sighted, that means we begin in fasting on Wednesday. But if he says no, the moon is not sighted, so Shaban is going to be 30, so Ramadan will be observed on Thursday. So that's the message. It's very, very simple and very, very clear to all Nigerians. So, but me and you, as a Muslim, you want to fast. How are you prepared for the fasting? Are you prepared for the fasting? With you on social media, 24/7, pornography pictures, You want to fast with 4 girlfriends, they visit you every day. You go to bar to drink, you want to fast with Ramadan? No. But I think all those things need to be neglected. You need to face Allah. And Ramadan is just like a school where you can practice some things for 29 or 30 days. You did not fornicate for 30 days, for 29 days. You did not drink alcohol. You did not do backbiting. You did not steal money. You did not do this. You did not do that for 29 days. So tell me, why can't you continue your life like that? So be closer to Allah. If you have fear of Allah, somebody tells you to steal. Somebody said, this is 1 billion. Steal it. He said, no, I cannot steal it. On the day of Qiyamah, on the day of judgment, I'm going to face the wrath of Allah if I steal it. So are you prepared? So that is my message to the Muslims all over the whole world. Get prepared for Ramadan. With what? With abstaining from illegal things prohibited by Allah and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
My name is Shino Ogbadegeshin. I'm the CEO of Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch SOUQ News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching SOUQ News, okay? Stay updated with SOUQ News.
My name is Aton Kene. I am the head of MSME Banking. Please keep watching SOUQ News and stay glued to SOUQ News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch SOUQ News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Africa is on the rise, and at the forefront of its growth is a sector as old as civilization itself, agriculture. Once marked by subsistence farming and challenges with food security, agriculture in Africa is now experiencing a powerful transformation. From the fertile lands of Nigeria to the tea fields of Kenya, agriculture is driving economic growth and lifting millions out of poverty. African governments and internal investors are taking notice, pouring in resources to support smallholder farmers and expand sustainable farming practices. Digital innovation is playing a major role in this transformation. Mobile apps provide farmers with crucial information on weather, market prices, and crop management. These digital tools are empowering farmers to make informed decisions, increase their yield, and get fair prices for their produce. Now I know when it rains, I can plan my planting better, and I know where to sell my crops for a good price. It's really changing our lives. We are committed to investing in agriculture as a pillar of our economy. Our goal is to make farming not only viable, but a source of wealth and stability for our people. African countries are also scaling up for exports, especially in high-demand crops like coffee, cocoa, and cashew. By focusing on quality, Africa is capturing a larger share of global markets. But the transformation goes beyond exports. Across Africa, new farming techniques and policies are helping to meet domestic demand and reduce reliance on food imports, contributing to food security across the continent. Women are also a key part of Africa's agricultural revolution. They make up a significant portion of the agricultural workforce and initiatives are empowering women farmers with resources and training to enhance productivity. From subsistence to sustainability, the future of agriculture in Africa is bright. With innovation, investment, and resilient communities, Africa is sowing the seeds of prosperity.
My name is Yinka Babalola.
My name is Ijoma Pelokoro.
My name is Joshua Hassan.
I am Rotarian Omosunde Lawson.
It's Ife Yunwarita Ejeze. My friends call me Ife.
My name is Rotarian Dare.
I'm inviting you to keep watching SOUQ News. It's the right station to tune to.
I like SOUQ News. SOUQ News is good.
I want to charge you all to listen to SOUQ News, watch the news.
You can have unlimited news first time.
Find SOUQ News. Be with SOUQ News. Never switch off. You are better for it. SOUQ News is the real thing.
Listen to their coverage and you'll be glad you did.
Turn to your YouTube, turn to your Instagram, turn to all your digital channels and look for SOUQ News.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Please, guys, keep watching
SOUQ News.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Dr. SOUQ A. Adedeji, whose leadership has significantly transformed Nigeria's tax administration, is a distinguished first-class graduate in accounting from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and he currently serves as the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
I firmly believe in the wisdom encapsulated in the statements. Revenue growth is the lifeblood of the nation's economy, providing means to fulfill essential duties to its citizens. These words capture the core principle that will guide us as we navigate the challenging terrain ahead, ensuring that our nation thrives and fulfills its obligation to its citizens. In our pursuit of greater fiscal future, we are determined to align ourselves with President Bola Tinubu's Extreme Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee. This collaboration will enable us to shape the prosperous fiscal landscape that will empower our nation's growth and development.
Born on January 8, 1978 in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, Nigeria, Dr. Adedeji is an accomplished accountant and public officer with extensive expertise in corporate taxation and public finance. His journey in public service began in 2011 when he was appointed as Commissioner for Finance in Oyo State. In that capacity, Adedeji introduced transformative financial reforms, most notably the establishment of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) to streamline government revenues and expenditures. In March 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Adedeji as Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council (NSCDC). In this capacity, he founded the Nigeria Sugar Institute and spearheaded the Sugar Backward Integration Program, which sought to enhance local sugar production and reduce reliance on foreign imports. In June 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Adedeji as Special Advisor on Revenue, and by September of that same year, he had ascended to the position of Executive Chairman of FIRS, Nigeria's leading tax authority responsible for the assessment, collection, and management of federal taxes.
The focus will be on these indirect taxes, so that as long as you consume, you have to pay. As long as you have interest on your investment, you have to pay. And this is echoing Mr. President's message that we are not going to tax the seed, but we are going to tax the fruit. The fruit is what we focus on. So all those things, when we have this holistic process, it will be captured, and that the vision is to have a progressive tax, that if you earn more, you pay more, and if you earn less, you will not pay.
Under his leadership, FIRS exceeded its 2023 revenue target of 11.55 trillion naira. As chairman of FIRS, Dr. Adedeji implemented a performance-based system aligning with the service's new slogan, simplifying tax, maximizing revenue.
Dr. SOUQ Adedeji has done incredibly well in transforming and reforming the tax processes and procedures in Nigeria. In a little over a year being at the helm of the affairs of the tax body in Nigeria, we have seen a significant improvement in revenue generation. His policy of not crumbling business with taxation is something that also needs to be applauded. SOUQ Adedeji philosophy is taxing fruits and not the seed, and taxing prosperity, not poverty. Because if you look at the fiscal landscape of Nigeria in the past 10 years, you find that businesses have struggled to live, and that has led to the exit of so many businesses from Nigeria. But with this new reform, we're seeing that the businesses will profit from the reform processes, and that will mean more business for Nigeria. We will have a lot of foreign inflow in terms of foreign direct investment that will actually drive the process of economic growth for the country. And I think he has done so well, and he deserves a kudos, especially for taking the giant stride to restructure FRS for efficiency, for accountability, and for value for money.
He has also made the welfare of the staff a top priority, fostering a positive working environment that has brought smiles to the faces of FIRS employees nationwide. Supporters of the tax reform bills highlight several key benefits, harping on the need for streamlined tax processes that could reduce bureaucratic hurdles and foster an environment where businesses can thrive.
He has initiated a lot of reform which dovetail into the tax reform bills that is before the National Assembly. This initiative is to improve on the tax administration system in Nigeria with a view to improving on the collection systems that will be beneficial to every member of the Nigerian state. SOUQ, as is well known, has improved on simplifying tax reform even within the federal landowner revenue, which in no means has improved on tax administration, and he celebrated essentially for the core initiative of the tax reform.
Under Dr. Adedeji's leadership, Nigeria's tax system has gone beyond mere policy adjustments. Its focus is on fostering sustainable growth and ensuring that the benefits of tax reforms reach both businesses and citizens.
So those that are attacking the bill, one, they are doing that in view of the formula they discovered, which may not be, will not augur well for them on the VAT allocation. And then secondly, they may be having the feeling that this law was just designed to favor Lagos State in the course of its own effort to become a state that has special status. Okay? It says so that will make it to be seen as if it is a country of its own, even though it's not up to the level of country, but it is higher than all other states in the country. Probably this may be the reason why they are agitating. The one that you can see clearly is on this issue of VAT. And then they have other suspicion. So that is another worry that I have. The issue of trust. Trust, what do some experts call trust deficit. Yes, will be promoted greatly by this if corrective measures are not taken. Graduation has not been defined. But then people have to go by what is happening now. As they go against it, Since now the graduation is about contribution of state that are producing these goods and services being consumed. So they have the right to just say that, oh, so now instead of 20%, it will now be 60%. And then you hear the government functionaries, including members of the committee, saying that no, that's not what they mean. They mean area of consumption. This 60% graduation is about consumption area, not location of the headquarters of company that produce the good or services. You should have defined that in the law.
Contributing to long-term national development, Dr. SOUQ A. Adedeji's career is a testament of his unwavering commitment to improving Nigeria's financial systems and enhancing revenue generation, showcasing his exceptional expertise in corporate and public finance.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Boggaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News. Keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
In Nigeria, when you hear technology, innovation, and e-commerce, then you begin to think of the 21st century visionary leaders who have availed us the luxury of connecting with the world without leaving our spaces. Nigeria, alongside some other developing countries, has occupied the tech space, networking and making a brilliant impact around the world, all thanks to people like LSK. I am Grace Komolafe. Join me on the Corporate Maverick as we unveil the journey of a foresighted leader who foresaw the transformation of technology decades ago. The year 2001, known as the third millennium, stands out for some individuals. It was thought like every other regular year to some people, as they express the excitement that comes with experiencing a new millennium. While many carry on with the feeling of entering the 21st century, some visionary individuals saw it as a strategic period to bet their thought-provoking plans and business goals. Among these visionary leaders and innovators is Leo Stan Eke, founder of Xenox Technology, bringing this tech-oriented company to life in 2001. How much do you know about this tech and business-driven giant? Who is Leo Stan Eke? Dr. Leonard Stanley Nnamdi Eke, popularly known as Leo Stan Eke, is one of Nigeria's dynamic and influential figures, an African entrepreneur born into the family of Ihentuge Eke on February 22, 1956, in Imo State, Nigeria. His mom, a dietitian, and dad, a nurse. His roots is traced back to Ubommiri Mbaitoli, where he was raised in the household that valued education and hard work. His parents instilled in him the values of discipline and perseverance from a young age. It was within this nurturing environment that Eke's entrepreneurial spirit began to take shape. Like many visionaries, Dr. Eke's journey to success was paved with academic excellence. He attended Holy Ghost College in Owerri for his secondary education, where he honed his intellect and ambition. Eke's dream of becoming the biggest transport company owner in Nigeria changed as a result of his encounter in India, where he had his university studies. It was a turnaround moment in his life. In India, he pursued a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from Punjab University, and the exposure to India's vibrant economy left an indelible mark on him and then tilted towards more realistic business ideas. This led him to get full involvement into ICT.
So I'm a very good testimony of an African who started from nothing, okay, and got somewhere, not there, right? Okay, so in summary, I came in here first of all to the University of Nottingham, or Nottingham University. I was in Cork City University, where I was doing computer science, and I wanted to specialize in user interface as a postgraduate course. Okay, and the system, which I'm sure still exists in the UK, that you have university counselors who observe you in classes and direct you properly. And they thought since I was going back to Africa, there was no computers. And if I got there, I could be frustrated for another 32 years. So they discussed with my parents, and they wanted to know if I could stay in the UK and continue computer science. I said, no, I was going back to Nigeria. I have passion to change the country, and by extension, the continent.
He later went on to earn a Master of Science in Risk Management from the Exton University of Nottingham, England, further enhancing his acumen in the field. With his tech startups dating back to the 80s, Eke can be put in the bracket of visionaries who saw that ICT would define the world in no distant time. His ICT Solutions company commenced operation in 1989, focusing on desktop publishing and computer graphics. Over the last 3 decades, the company extended operations from Lagos to Port Harcourt and Abuja, implementing several ICT projects across the oil and gas, telecoms, manufacturing, and public sectors.
I started small, like any other entrepreneur you read today. Okay, some started in the garage. Okay, most of them didn't inherit wealth. Now, so how could they have started? You start with your own. During our time, you have to start with your own sweat. Okay, until you build such, get to such a level with a system and structure in place. And then people trust you. But because our kids today pass through business schools, connected to people, okay, and they now want to go from average above. You understand? Instead of starting, a lot of us started from -1.
Leo Stan Eke's major hits into the business world commenced with the establishment of SOUQ Technology Limited in 2001. With a fervent desire to contribute to Nigeria's technological space, he embarked on a mission to manufacture computers locally. Now a world-class ICT company providing innovative products and solutions. Under his leadership, SOUQ computers have emerged as a trailblazer in the industry, earning accolades for its quality and innovation. One of his notable achievements was the attainment of the Windows Hardware Quality Lab Testing WHQL certification, showing SOUQ's commitment to excellence. In 2013, the company made headlines with the launch of its computer tablet line, ZPad, marking another milestone in its illustrious journey. Dr. Eke's entrepreneurial prowess extends beyond the realm of technology. In 2018, his company SOUQ made waves with the acquisition of Konga.com, a leading e-commerce platform in Nigeria. This landmark deal underscored Ake's strategic vision and his unwavering dedication to driving innovation in diverse sectors. Konga.com was founded by Sim Shagaya in July 2012 as a third-party online marketplace. 99% of its shares were acquired by Xenos in February 2018. 3 months later, Konga merged with Xenos retail outfit Udala to form the biggest e-commerce company in Africa, retaining the brand name Konga. Leonard Stanley Ake also founded BuyRightAfrica.com Limited in 2008, at a time when credit card and e-payment infrastructures were still strange to many Nigerians. He did this to resolve funding issues for ICT projects and companies. He partnered with international financiers to help Africans acquire technology and compete globally. Some other of his establishments are Technology Distribution Limited, Tax Direct Limited, and iTech Solutions. He is involved in ICT Brokers and ICT Connect.
Okay, but mine had a call. I had a call on the tech sector, and I've been consistent. And if you remember, my first step was to deal with the doubting Thomases, the media people. And it was like an evangelism. If you prove your worth to press people, to media people, because these are the critics of our time, then they follow you. You get to your destination faster. So when I did the whole media houses, transitioning them to digital economy through digital processing, through from typesetting to desktop publishing, computer graphics, okay, and multimedia. Then they started spreading the news. But again, we had to enhance that profile to the corporate world so that people can run offices with data analytics to guide them on advice, projections, okay, and where they're headed to. And then even our election. Okay, so today there would have been crisis in the economy if elections don't have facts and figures. And we did that with the DDC, and then did authentication with a card reader.
If you've come this far, kindly like, comment, and share. Throughout Ake's career, he remained committed to empowering others and fostering socio-economic development. His philanthropic endeavors and advocacy for youth empowerment reflects his belief in the transformative power of entrepreneurship. He launched the Computerized Nigeria project in August 2000, thereby encouraging development and the use of computers. He also launched the Can I scheme, providing affordable laptops to young Nigerians with a repayment plan of 24 months window. Ake's foundation furthers his charitable efforts, supporting various causes with different donations across the country.
Now, I see entrepreneurs trying to live big. Are you with me? Yeah. I see entrepreneurs trying to show off. You must have incubation period. Every successful entrepreneurs are seen to be stingy because they know the value of every dollar spent. But they use the same money to sustain the society. Okay, so I just want to advise Nigerians here. I see a lot of you startups now selling debt. It means technically you are leaving the company. And if I'm an investor, I watch your lifestyle. First of all, I see an entrepreneur, Nigerian entrepreneur, he hasn't started, he has expensive cars. Entrepreneurs, startups don't drive the best cars. They hide until they emerge.
He was bestowed with the Icon of Hope Award by former President Olusegun Obasanjo on October 1, 2002. He also got Nigerian Science and Technology Achievers of the Year 2003 and Officer of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria OFR in 2004. Ake is also a member of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group and holds a life membership Nigeria Institute of International Affairs. He also holds an honorary doctorate in Business Administration from Imo State University, Owerri, Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and the University of Jos. He is a fellow of the Lagos State Polytechnic, Lagos, Federal Polytechnic, Ida, and Federal Polytechnic, Nekede, Imo State.
Leadership is big crisis in the third world. Big subject to discuss. I don't have a complete answer, but as an entrepreneur, I can create platforms for you to decide who should be your leader. But my interest is that I'm excited with this 21st century, because this is the only century God did not create any person to be poor. In the past, many were called and few were chosen. In 21st century, many are called and many will be chosen. But you have to decide if you want to be one of those to be chosen.
Leonard Stanley Nnamdi Eke is married to Chioma Eke, the CEO of Technology Distributions Limited, TD Africa, and together they have raised 3 sons and 2 daughters who are doing well in their respective fields of endeavors, just like their parents. As Dr. Leonard Stanley Nnamdi Eke continues to chart new territories and inspire future generations, it speaks to the limitless potential of the African entrepreneurial spirit. With his visionary leadership and unwavering resolve, Dr. Eke embodies the essence of innovation and resilience, creating indelible marks on Nigeria's business in Africa and humanity. Leonard Stanley Nnamdi Eke.
Hello, Lagos. Make we yarn.
Hello, boy, if this POS matter, don't pass your call. Person go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you fake alert the warriors.
Okay, so wanna listen, If you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbuefi. They don't walk that bar road where they warrior for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what? Development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbuefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
The bank was totally gone, so there was nothing to say they had. But we still approached them and said we would like to take over this bank. The journey since 1997 has been one thing or the other, and I'm happy that many years down the line we look back and we're happy that we're audacious and bold to make them move at the time. That's why today in UBA, perseverance, resilience is a core virtue, a core attribute, a core value of ours, because we apply that early on in this journey. So that's how it all started.
Leadership, according to Tom Peters, entails vision, enthusiasm, trust, verve, passion, and consistency. If there's one man who graciously combines these virtues, the name Tony Elumelu comes to mind.
They say that success to a large extent is dependent on being at the right place at the right time. I say to people, my elder brother, who is 7 years older than me, he don't have gray hair. I have gray hair. My gray hair started from the merger, because making it work, serving your customers, making sure that everyone in the universe of the institution, which was 428 branches at the time, that it was same level of service across board. Customers of standard trust that were used to a certain level of service delivery, you will not want them to come to the new institution and have a drop.
From the womb of time, Tony Elumelu has been an embodiment of nobility and excellence. He remains one of the flying eagles and shining heads of the banking industry. The life and times of Tony is an inspiring tale. He is one Nigeria who is unmoved by material wealth and self-aggrandizement. Tony's noble qualities were on from his humble background. Growing up with 4 siblings in Jos Plateau State, the cowboy of the banking industry who hails from Anocha North local government area of Delta State, believed in the democratization of law combined with hard work. He began his career as a copier salesman. The Ambrose Ali University graduate of economics also bagged a master's degree in economics from the University of Lagos. In 2019, he received an honorary Doctor of Business degree from Bayero University, Kano.
Going to university, I just thought I wanted to be a businessman because my mom's brother, my mom and his brother were just 2 of them. So my uncle was a businessman, in Nigeria, and was quite successful at the time. And I was influenced. I thought he was very rich, and also I wanted to be a businessman, but not knowing whether just a businessman, you know what I mean? Because he was described then as a businessman. And but in university, that was why I read economics, just to see. But in university, I got more enlightened because I knew more how things operated. And the first degree, I was saying, I just wanted a good job that would give me the start. But when I came to do my master's at Unilag, being in urban or Unilag, a lot happening at the time. And that was the era of new generation banks, a lot happening. Our friends, in banking, our friends, some got jobs in some banks. And so that's all of us who were doing masters at the time. I did masters in economics. Who were doing masters at the time, we just became interested and fascinated. We were interested in working in a bank. New generation bank, not old generation bank, not. And so that was how it all started. And we started applying for jobs in our banks. And I got, yes, at the master's level, it was clear I wanted to work in a bank. And yes, that was started. As in then, Santana was a posh car. So they oppressed us in school, I must say. And then we too wanted to become the big boys in future with the brochures, suspenders, white shirt, dark suits, etc.
The growth and development of any institution is determined by the quality of its leadership. For Tony Elumelu, his sterling performance and leadership scorecard in the banking industry remains a reference point. He rose quickly to become the youngest bank branch manager at Allstate Trust Bank at the age of 36. He formed a coalition to acquire a distressed financial institution, Crystal Bank, and became its CEO, an action that earned him and his circle of peers the nickname the cowboys of banking.
In 1997, some of us came together and acquired a distressed financial institution. We acquired this financial institution, we turned it around, we set targets for ourselves, strategic plans. That's, targets, if you have first year strategic intent, we want to make it a viable financial services company. Second year intent, we want to become a leading financial services group on the continent. And third financial intent, strategic intent to become a player in the global financial arena. As we all know, there's so much private global capital seeking the right investment destination. All it takes is for a leadership to show that this country is set for business and people come there. We want to move into an economy where they can invest freely as well as move their monies out when it comes for time for dividend and remittances and repatriation of a dividend. So I will continue to invest because of the signal that we see in the market, because of certain fundamentals that are right.
He audaciously led the largest merger in Africa between United Bank of Africa and Standard Trust Bank. Tony's fancy for red tie remains emblem of his appearance. He retired as CEO of United Bank for Africa in 2010. He is presently the chairman of Heirs Holdings, the United Bank for Africa, Transcorp, and founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation.
I can't express how excited I am in words to be here and to be selected among the 1,000.
It's the opportunity for me to realize my dreams. So I go into business and start to make my way.
It challenges you to do things you never thought you could do.
Maybe if you'd have gone to a private school or an MBA, you must have paid a lot to get this kind of, enlightenment.
Ça me fait plaisir de voir des frères et sœurs qui veulent se rencontrer, se connaître, les partager et créer un réseau, peut-être le plus grand réseau africain.
Venho de Cabo Verde.
Je suis tunisien.
Je viens de la République du Bénin.
I'm from Edo State, Nigeria.
I'm from Ghana.
Zimbabwe.
Sudan.
From Rwanda.
Gabon.
Uganda.
Senegal.
Niger. I'm from the Gambia.
Welcome and thank you for coming to Lagos. I'd like to start by congratulating all of you. You have done well. Most entrepreneurs are creative people. They have creative mindset. They're innovative. Those who dare to dream and who dare to innovate in Africa should have the opportunity to prove their innovation. And that is why we have $10,000 for these 10,000 Africans to help prove their concept and prepare them for bigger scale financial support. We don't give because we see it as a moral burden to give, to just give charity. But we want to give people because we want to uplift them. We want them to be self-reliant. We want them to be fishermen. We want them to do what we are doing. We want them to prosper in life, become successful.
Tony made a tremendous contribution to giving back to the society. His selfless efforts and huge investment into humanity through the Tony Elumelu Foundation is widely adjured as the leading philanthropy empowering a new generation of African entrepreneurs, driving poverty eradication, catalyzing job creation across all 54 African countries, and increasing women economic empowerment. Since the launch of the entrepreneurship program in 2015, the foundation has trained over 1.5 million young Africans on its digital hub. Tony, the Nigerian economist, entrepreneur and philanthropist, holds the Nigerian National Honors, the Commander of the Order of Nigeria, CON, a member of the Order of the Federal Republic, MFR. He has been responsible for creating business that are critical to Africa's economic development. He is a proponent of Africa capitalism, an economic philosophy which advocates for the private sector's commitment to Africa's development through long-term investment in strategic sectors of the economy that drive economic prosperity and social wealth award. He was awarded the Daily Times the Nigerian Man of the Year in 2016. He was honored with the National Productivity Order of Merit Award in 2019. He is also on the list of Time magazine's 100 most influential people of 2020. On October 11, 2022, Elumelu received the National Honor of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Tony, as a staunch professional and chairman of Foremost Bank, may understandably runs a busy daily schedule like that of a bee, but he balances the equation with creating time for sports. His love for lawn tennis and football stands undeniable.
My good workout favorite, I think I would say that I like to jog on the sport. I love yoga, as you said. Yeah. But these days I'm trying to get in the group of planting.
Tony is not just a champion in the backyard. He equally balances the equation when it comes to family life.
For me, as a family man, though, I try to make sure I balance things. I try to make sure my family side is not so. In that process, I was also growing a family, having my kids and co. So, but everything came together.
Tony is happily married to Awele Vivian Elumelu, who is the chairperson of Harvey Medical Practice Limited. Vivian also oversees the healthcare investment of Yes Holdings. She holds a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery degree from the University of Benin. The marriage was consummated in 1993 and blessed with 7 children. According to Forbes' list, Tony is among the top 10 richest entrepreneurs in Nigeria with a net worth estimated at $1 billion.
We don't just preach. We don't just theorize, we practice.
Tony has stooped to conquer not just in the banking industry, but in life. The strides of this living legend, popularly referred to as the Lion of Africa's financial industry, remains iconic.
So entrepreneurs who are listening, quick one, short one, straight to the point. Entrepreneurship is a long-term journey. Stop seeing it as a short-term goal. Long-term journey. Great companies, great and accomplished entrepreneurs did not make it in 1 year. They didn't make it in 3 years. It's a long-term journey. So move in, dare to dream, implement your dream, and stay focused.
I'm from UBA, so keep watching SOUQ News.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Esther Ashimi, keep watching SOUQ News.
Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Helen Otongwa. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Okoyemi Temiyemi. I am an entertainer. I am representing Egypt, as you can see. So keep watching SOUQ News.
Hi, my name is Nena Okavi. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Tom Aldo. Keep watching SOUQ News.
I'm Elizabeth from POS Services UBA. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Hi, my name is Kelechi Agu. Keep watching SOUQ News.
When we talk about South Sudan, Africa's youngest nation, having gained independence in 2011, we often focus on its political journey or natural resources. But there's something else that holds deep generational value in South Sudanese lives, which is cows. In South Sudan, cows aren't just animals, they are everything. They are currency, they are status, they are identity. Among groups like the Dinka and Nuer, a man's wealth isn't measured in cash, it's counted in cows. Cows pay dowries, settle disputes, mark the birth of a child, and even the death of an elder. Boys grow up in cattle camps, learning not just to herd, but to lead. Songs are written about prize bulls. People name themselves after their cows. It's love, not ownership. And no, they don't eat them. Not casually. Cows are sacred. They are milked, admired, and even mourned. Only in rare ceremonies, funerals, farming, or great misfortune is a cow killed for food. To eat one is to part with a piece of your soul. I'm Moyosore Adibi for Just Africa, only on SOUQ News TV. Africa is a continent of different individuals, tribes, languages, and even destinies. Every African country is unique in its own way, with something that sets it apart from the others. Today, on the uniqueness of Africa, we take a look at Chad. Chad, located in north-central Africa, is a land of extremes and quiet resilience. What makes Chad truly unique is its extraordinary geographical and ecological contrast. Stretching from the harsh Sahara Desert in the north to fertile savannas and wetlands in the south. One of its most remarkable features is Lake Chad, once one of Africa's largest freshwater lakes. Though it has shrunk dramatically over the decades due to climate change and overuse, it remains a vital lifeline for over 30 million people across Chad, Nigeria, Niger, and Cameroon. But Chad's uniqueness goes even deeper. It is one of the most linguistically diverse countries in Africa, with over 120 local languages spoken, despite a relatively small population. French and Arabic are the official languages, but the diversity reflects its deep ethnic and cultural complexity. Chad is also home to Zakuma National Park, a conservation success story in Central Africa. Once plagued by poaching, the park has rebounded and is now a sanctuary for elephants, lions, giraffes, and rare birds, showcasing the country's ecological richness. In the Enedi Plateau in northeastern Chad lies another treasure, a UNESCO World Heritage Site filled with ancient rock formations and prehistoric cave art, some dating back 7,000 years. These natural cathedrals in the desert tell stories of early human life long before modern civilization reached the region. In terms of identity, Chad is where Arab and Black African cultures blend, creating a unique socio-cultural fusion seen in its clothing, cuisine, languages, and traditions. Despite economic challenges and regional instability, Chad remains a country of untapped beauty, resilience, and cultural depth. It is a land where survival meets strength and where the desert holds not just sand, but stories. This is the uniqueness of Africa, and today we spotlight Chad, the bridge between the desert and diversity. I am Moyosore Adibi for SOUQ News TV.
At the core of what makes us human is our ability to pay attention, be present in our experiences, and channel our thoughts and actions towards meaningful goals. However, for individuals with ADHD, which is considered a neurodevelopmental disorder, a medical condition that affects the brain, this fundamental aspect of human nature is often disrupted, leading to difficulties in maintaining focus, controlling impulses, and regulating behaviors.
This hyperactivity disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder that occurs in children and adolescents. It's a problem that has to do with brain development and the brain function. And the ADHD symptoms range from inattention, impulsivity, and hyperactivity. They may be very restless, fidgeting, and they're always on the move. And sometimes they may be climbing, jumping from here and there. That they may injure themselves in the process.
Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, ADHD, is one of the most common mental disorders diagnosed in children, though it can persist into adolescent and adulthood. The history dates back to 1798, when a Scottish doctor, Sir Alexander Crichton, observed that some individuals were easily distracted and unable to focus on their activities as others could. He noted that these symptoms often begin early in life, which is consistent with what we now recognize as ADHD. The disorder typically manifests between the ages of 3 and 6, with symptoms such as difficulty in focusing, excessive movement inappropriate to the setting, and impulsive actions occurring without forethought. This ailment affects people of all ages, though most commonly diagnosed in children. The average age of onset is around 7 years, with symptoms significantly impacting various aspects of life. Approximately 5 to 10 of children worldwide are affected, with the highest prevalence rates observed in Africa at 8.5% and South America at 11.5%. Variations exist across different countries, with lower rates in Japan and Finland and higher rates in Jamaica and Thailand. In the United States, about 7% of children are diagnosed with this disorder, reflecting an average of prevalence globally.
Differentiate between ADHD and other neurodevelopmental disorders. It starts with comprehensive assessment. And when I talk about assessment, I mean assessment by child psychiatrists, assessment by child psychologists, and other professionals in the mental health team. And of course, there are some basic symptoms that are very clear and obvious. The clinical presentation, when you see a child that is hyperactive, that is impulsive, that is inattentive, that itself can give you a clue that that child may be having ADHD symptoms. And again, you also take further history. You may need to take, if there's a family history of ADHD in the setting, because if there is a family history of ADHD, the child may come up with ADHD in the nearest future.
Individuals affected faces challenges that extend into academic performance, work or personal relationships, and social domains. Some of the signs include constant fidgeting, impulsiveness, and difficulty completing tasks, alongside emotional struggles such as mood swings, low self-esteem, and frustration.
The diagnosis is made following a comprehensive assessment, and you also do some basic psychological investigations, and of course, by combining the report from the child psychiatrist and the child psychologist, you'll be very comfortable to make a diagnosis. And of course, I must say that there are some childhood disorders that may mimic ADHD, like learning disability, like autism spectrum disorders. But the symptoms of ADHD are so very obvious that when you see a child that is hyperactive and oftentimes restless, oftentimes impulsive and unable to follow instructions, that should give you a high index of suspicion that that child may be struggling with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
While it's not a physical ailment like a broken bone, it is a real condition that is frequently accompanied by other conditions such as major depressive disorder, anxiety, substance abuse, learning disabilities, conduct disorder, and oppositional defense disorder, which complicates the management and treatment of the disorder. Treatment for ADHD typically involves a combination of medical therapy and behavioral interventions. Stimulants are also the most commonly used, with 70 to 80% of children experiencing symptoms relief. Cognitive behavioral therapy, anger management, and family therapy are key in managing symptoms, along with educational interventions that enhance coping strategies and organizational skills. While these treatments help manage ADHD, they do not cure it, highlighting the need for ongoing support and personalized care. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, ADHD, is a complex condition with far-reaching effects on behavior, cognition, and emotional well-being. Continued research and effective treatments are vital in helping those affected lead fulfilling lives and contribute meaningfully to their society. Grace Komolafe, SOUQ News TV. Schizophrenia is a severe mental illness that profoundly affects an individual's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Those with this illness often experience a disconnection from reality, which can be distressing not only for the individuals themselves but also for their families and friends. The symptoms include delusions, hallucinations, disorganized thinking and speech, and abnormal motor behavior. Delusions are persistent false beliefs, often paranoid in nature, while hallucinations involve perceiving things that are not present, with auditory hallucinations being the most common. Disorganized thinking can lead to incoherent speech, and abnormal behavior may range from erratic movements to catatonia. The term schizophrenia was coined in 1911 by Swiss psychiatrist Eugene Bühler, combining the Greek words schizo, which means split, and phren, which means mind. This term reflects the fragmented thinking and mental confusion characteristics of the disorder. Schizophrenia remains a complex and multifaceted condition that can severely impact all aspects of a person's life when symptoms are acute. It has a lifetime prevalence of approximately 14.5 per 1,000 people in the UK, with variation across different estimates. It commonly emerges in late adolescence to early adulthood, with men typically showing symptoms in their late teens to early 20s and women in their late 20s to early 30s. The disorder encompasses several subtypes such as paranoid, disorganized, catatonic, undifferentiated, and residual types. Though the exact cause is unknown, genetic factors and stressful life events are believed to contribute to its onset. Challenges faced by individuals with schizophrenia include untreated negative symptoms, medication side effects, weight management issues, suicidal thoughts, substance use, and difficulties in maintaining employment. Treatment usually involves a combination of medication and counseling, with many individuals eventually experiencing significant recovery. Although preventing this illness has not been recorded, but managing symptoms is crucial for improving quality of life. An adherent to a treatment plan can help prevent symptoms exacerbation. Key precautions include avoiding alcohol and illegal drugs, as these substances complicate treatment. Regular physical activity, stress management, adequate sleep, and balanced diet, and avoiding smoking are recommended to support overall health and well-being. Grace Komolafe, SOUQ News Television.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Ojude Oba is the annual social cultural festival with the splendor and grandeur of the Ijebus on display at Ijebu-Ode, the capital city of Ijebuland. It is a nexus of cultural and sartorial elegance, social grace, and evocative dance steps that has attracted indigenous as well as local and foreign tourists over the years. It is a celebration of the enduring age-grade system called Regbe Regbe, platform of cultural identity and unity of the Ijebus, including those in the diaspora. From its origin in the 1880s as an Islamic faithful Salah message and visit to the Abujale of Ijebuland, the Ojude Oba Festival has transformed into an all-indigenous celebration filled with fun and laughter. I shall be looking at the economic and tourist attractions and potentials of this festival in view of its increasing global patronage and attention it is receiving right now. Credit for the transformative feats of social engineering concerning the Ojude Oba Festival must go to His Royal Majesty Oba Sikiru Kayode Adetono Ogbagba II. Since ascending the throne of his forefathers in 1960, It is a case of an iconic traditional ruler creating an iconic legacy. This year's edition of Ojude Oba Festival was estimated to have attracted over 2 million people and several more millions of a global audience. The social media was agog in transmitting the grandeur of the occasion. As is usual, Ijebu-Ode experienced vehicular and human traffic gridlock, especially in the city center, where the Palace of the Awujale and the Palace Annex hosting the event are located. It is a measure of the economic derivative of the celebration of Ojude Oba that all hotels in Ijebu-Ode and environs were fully booked from Saturday, June 15, 2024, through to June 28 to Wednesday 19th, the day after. Food and drinks vendors also made boom sales, catering for the teeming patrons at the celebration. At the venue of the celebration, opposite the palace, the Awujale was resplendent in the majesty of his royal regalia, supported by other traditional rulers in Ijebu land, with Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, also an Ijebu, adorned in a desired native dress of sunshine colors that stood him out as a sartorial connoisseur. But then, in all good things, there are few contrary people sold to skepticism and negativism. The 2024 Ojude Oba Festival attracted such people who erroneously and mischievously described it as a fashion jamboree of no consequence to the welfare of the hosts and the environment. These skeptics and critics wondered why the Regberegbes should not offer scholarships, build health centers, and construct roads and boreholes. Some people even dismissed the Regberegbes outing at Ojude Oba Festival as a wasteful fashion extravaganza. In their anger, they wondered what a hell is this Ojude Oba Festival? What an empty hype. The coordinator of the 2024 Ojude Oba Festival, Chief Fasi Yusuf, told journalists that the Regberegbe had not only been feeding the people and educated the youths, as it were, but have also been providing infrastructural facilities. He described the Regberegbes as interventionist development agents, citing such instances of their interventions to include the 20 million naira renovation of the male surgical ward at the State Hospital in Ijebu-Ode, renovation of Nigerian Police Area Command Ekpeba, Ijebu-Ode, and building of police posts in different parts of the city. The 108-page Ojude Oba Festival 2024 brochure listed some of the other activities engaged by the various Regberegbes, as the resuscitation of the moribund School of Nursing and Midwifery Ijebu-Ode, scholarships to indigent students, construction of 4 blocks of classrooms at Omu Ajose Comprehensive High School, and 3 classroom blocks at Imososi Primary School, Agoiwoye. Other activities include the rehabilitation of roads, provision of boreholes and solar street lights, support to orphanages, homes, and homes for special needs, and free medical services for indigents. Chief Fasi Yusuf, who is the Bagbimo of Ijebu-Ode and secretary to the Awujale Council of Chiefs, stressed that it had become imperative to enlighten skeptics about the extensive ramifications of the Regberegbes as a unique, populist, social, cultural, economic platform where services were provided for the community and also for members. He pointed out that the Regberegbes had become unifying and uplifting platforms with the enhancement of the well-being of members, financial and health-wise, considered collective responsibilities of the age group, where investment loans, payment of hospital bills of sick members, and donation to families of deceased members are made. Talking personally and professionally after my private investigation, interaction, and discussion, I will say categorically clearly that the glees and colors associated with the Ojude Oba Festival is outside the ranks of any cultural festival in Nigeria. What Nigeria advertises to the world in Ojude Oba is cultural elegance and communal cohesion. It is this cultural elegance that is being proposed as a tourism potential and strength for Ojude Oba Festival as a major global tourist destination. For instance, Morocco, Africa's top tourism destination with 13.2 million tourists in 2023, has its vibrant culture as its selling point. Egypt, which is placed second with 11.5 million tourists, has its ancient wonders of the pyramid and the Valley of Kings as its attraction. While for 8th placed Kenya, with 2.6 million tourists, the premium is its wildlife safaris. Nigeria ranked 68th in the World Tourism Index, attracted only 518,000 tourists in 2021 from the latest figures available from the United Nations World Tourism Organization. This demands that Nigeria needs to create and promote a tourism policy and strategy with a properly packaged Ojude Oba Festival as a potential tourism money spinner to tap into the gold mine of its 1.3 billion global tourists in 2023 that generated revenues of $4 trillion, according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization. The Ojude Oba Festival should be funded, supported, and promoted to rank with the world's leading tourism destinations. These destinations include Disney World in Florida, in the United States of America, California, also in America, Cancun in Mexico, the safaris in Kenya, Paradise Fund in Mauritius, the aquatic jewel of the Indian Ocean, and the historic Colosseum in Rome, Italy. We in Nigeria need to appreciate and celebrate our culture as our patriotic, passionate contribution to global tourism. And the Ojude Oba Festival is such a sellable cultural event. My name is Bayo Olaoye.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to watch, always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Bogaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News. Keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria, and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
Okay, as you know, my name is Babatunde Jala Ipega. I shortened it. That was part of my journey to Baba Jala Ipega. I was born here in Lagos, just a stone throw away from here, in actually Lagos Hospital here. And I was expelled from school. I went to Corona Ikoyi at the age of 6. My teacher, who I found to be quite unjust at the time, made us all stand, and I remember this, even though it's like almost 45 years ago. But I remember standing outside Corona School in the heat with all the students in my class because one boy had done something and no one owned up. So I found that quite unjust that all of us had to suffer. So I picked up a stone and I threw that stone at my headmistress's glass, and it broke her window. She told my parents, and my parents weren't very happy, of course, but they realized that I wasn't meant to be in school like that here. So the teacher actually asked me to leave, and my parents took me to England. They said, take this child to England. We can't control this child here. He's a wild fellow. So as soon as I got to England, I went to Tunbridge Wells in Kent. I went to school there, and it was the most cold experience I've ever had in my life. I was 6.5 going to 7, and I went to boarding school at that age. And I think that woke me up in life straight away, that even in comfort, you still have steel. And by that I mean that everyone would think, oh, you are lucky, you went to England at 6, 7. Well, I was very young. I was put in a dormitory with children from England, from Japan, from Saudi Arabia. We were all very young. There was a lot of crying in the dormitory, 12 boys, 6 on each side. And the room was very cold. I remember the cold. But one other thing I got to learn was rugby. And through my life, rugby and learning to deal with my condition and environment has instilled a strength in me. And as we know in Nigeria, you have a lot of things that happen that are out of your control.
but you have to find a way to evolve and adapt. And I think from the age of 6, 7, I was very lucky to have that. I went to the oldest school in the world called King's Canterbury, started by St. Augustine in 598 AD. This was the secondary school I went to. And my life seemed pretty, what they say, gold-leafed at the time. Everyone's like, you enjoy, you're in Nigeria, you're in London. I learned to speak Spanish. Unfortunately, I lost my Yoruba, but I'm trying to get that back. I learned to speak Spanish and French. But at the age of 17, my father had a stroke. And he was working too hard, obviously. And sadly, my mom and dad had split up by that time. So my whole life that seemed so rosy stopped because my father's business partners, all of them somehow took the business and it went away. And from that going away, we were left destitute. My dad was in a coma for 3 months, and my mother, who wasn't working, because my sisters and I have 2 lovely older sisters, Yewande and Gigi, we were still in school. So much so that my last year's school fees were not paid. But one of my uncles kindly paid for my school fees, and my mother had to go to work. She started her own business. She too was a journalist, Mrs. Ibiene Epega, but she started a chauffeur driving company and started using cars to drive people with her staff. So from that age where I thought a university was going to be given, I was left floating in the abyss because we didn't have financials. So for 1 year I had to work in a post office in London, and it was quite an eye-opener for me, but it didn't stop me from adapting. And again, adaptation helped me grow. So from being in a very wealthy family as a young man, coming to the age of 17 to become an adolescent, a grown-up, I realized that nothing is given. My father sadly was in a stroke, and when he had that stroke, he became semi-paralyzed. For another 30 years, he was semi-paralyzed. But my mother died quite soon after that time in a car crash on the road to Warri, because my Okrika side and Warri side is where my mom was from, even though my father was Ijebu. So my mother died at the age of, when I was 21, which was 20 actually, when I was starting university. And my father was semi-paralyzed. So I became the father of the family, even though my sisters were older and far more intelligent than me. But being the man, I had to take control of a lot of things. And I think that's what really gave me the tenacity to understand that I really need to be someone who doesn't just walk in one field. I need to spread my risk. From my university, I did mathematical economics and Spanish. I was able to go to University, Queen Mary College, London University. And from there, I finished. As I said, I worked again. So I worked before I went to uni, and then I worked afterwards. And for me, life is about collaboration, communication, and tenacity. And I think those were my first 21 years. There were less people in Lagos in those days. I won't lie. I grew up every summer and even Christmas where we could afford it. Back in my day, 1978, 79, Naira was 0.8 to £1. So you can understand that people were very wealthy. I think in those days, there was like 40 million people. It wasn't that much of it because my dad was an estate surveyor. So we used to go to Abuja a lot. And he was one of the surveyors that gridded Abuja when it was being built during the late 70s, 80s with Obasanjo, and even before Murtala Mohammed. They were gridding it. And Lagos was, shall I say, Abuja was made the capital. And Abuja is a model city of Milton Keynes, which is a model city of Paris. Just like Brasilia in Brazil was changed from Rio de Janeiro as a capital. So for me, coming back to Lagos was a joy. I enjoyed it because I was young. We used to just run the streets on our bicycles and cycling, just exploring. Everything was open. There weren't as many cars. It was no big apartments, and there weren't as many people. So I had a beautiful time. There were a lot of lizards on the ground, and we used to throw stones at them. But that was my own youth. We used to go to the beach a lot. Bar Beach was around. It's not around now. Sadly, my dad used to take me to Bar Beach to see the capital punishment killings of armed robbers, and even Dimka, who was one of the leaders of the coup d'etat against Murtala Mohammed. We saw him shot there. Saturdays was a big day, and NTA used to have a channel. I think they still have their studio there. So one of our aunties, Ms. Julie Coker, was there. So we used to see, we saw a different side of Nigeria. We would go to Ibadan, we would go to Ijebu, we would go to Benin, we would go to Port Harcourt by road. In those days, you could travel, and along the way, we go to Akure, you pick up mangoes, you pick up coconut. My dad would pick up palm wine, all these things on the road that I don't know if you get it now because security is an issue. So for me, it was a romantic time. I think fashion, evolving through Nigeria, has started as a siloed industry. By that I mean every individual was doing their own thing, whether they were a seamstress, a tailor, a designer, a stitcher, they were doing their own thing. But we are realizing that with the 200+ million people we have in Nigeria, you can't be an individual alone doing your own thing. So the evolution of fashion that I've seen in my own small way, as someone who's worked in the industry, is that there's more collaboration. The designers are looking for hire specialist artisans to help with their stitching, the styling, and the putting together of clothes and accessories. So I'm also seeing small grassroots shoots, very small at the moment, of the government playing a part in bringing together some kind of foundation so people can articulate their fashion designs to the world, because we have seen it in a lot of music. Obviously, Afrobeat is one of our biggest exports in this country. Obviously, there's oil and all the others, but I'm talking about within this entertainment, luxury, lifestyle industries. So we're trying to learn from that how private sector can play a part to enhance this fashion sector. So now we're seeing a lot of vibrant colors, a lot of styles. Men's fashion is big. It's not just women's fashion. Men's grooming is massive. Hair and beauty as well. So men are taking care of ourselves more and more. And accessories. Accessories, I think, is fundamentally the quick fix of fashion, where we can enhance and create jobs and hyper growth in GDP by focusing on this. And this is where I implore the government with, working in mineral resources, our precious metals, semi-precious metals, help those industries to grow. There's a great lady, Janet Adeyemi, who works in Women in Business, and she is working within that. Let's help our fairer sex or the female gender to grow in business as well, because there's a fundamental knowledge that if half your population are women, as ours is roughly, or maybe 51%, 52%, you have to educate the women so they too can add to GDP. It's a simple economist theory. You can't leave them out of it because it's very important. And these industries in fashion are enhanced by women, and we need to push that forward. I think the banking system needs to be augmented. And I'm saying this from the government's perspective. The ease of doing business in Nigeria, as an investor myself, a foreign investor as well as being an indigent in Nigeria, the problem is not getting your money to Nigeria, it's getting your money out of Nigeria. Not that you want to suck all the money out of the country, but what can help is the floating exchange rates, the flow and liquidity of money that can come in and out of the country. A lot of investors are worried about how they get their money out of Nigeria. So I think our banking system, going back to the central bank, which they're working on, needs to be much more fluid. So people feel they can invest and take money out. But also, we need to articulate what is on offer. We need to start some kind of documentation of who is available to have investment with, where they can be found, because it's because we are quite an opaque economy, meaning that people can't see the end of where they're putting their money. once we do that basis and open up the lights within which kind of businesses are available to be invested in, I think a lot of investors, domestic and international, will be more willing to put money towards it. I think content creation for me has been an evolution. I started as an ex-banker, as I said. I used to trade futures and options in Barclays Bank. I was on the Life Exchange, trading bonds, and I found that wasn't my life. I wanted to be more closer to people. Some people can be bankers on the trading desk or trading floor, but not for me. So I started doing events. I was very lucky enough to show that I was quite adept at doing events. So a big company called Richemont, they owned Cartier, Dunhill, Hackett. They were part of British American Tobacco. They took me on to do their events. So I was doing a lot of polo matches, a lot of Christmas parties, a lot of brand activation events in England. So for me, I got a lot of content knowledge from that. Different styles, people, different countries. But in the last 10 years, I felt that helping companies like LinkedIn, Google, all kinds of big banks in Europe and America was not my remit. My business, EMC3, was going very strongly in America. But as a Nigerian man, I didn't feel love in America. I know that everyone says it's the land of opportunity, but being someone of my own African descent, I didn't like the mentality there. People are good, but the infrastructure is racist institutionally, as we know. So I felt I wanted to give something back to Nigeria. And with all the 20 years of, at that time, about 17 years of knowledge I gained from doing some of the best Grand Prix parties in the world, Formula One, around Monza, Silverstone, Abu Dhabi. I was doing a lot of events. I thought, let me take this back to Nigeria. I didn't have to come back to Nigeria. I wanted to. And I know with all our grievances with Nigeria, if you ask many Africans about Nigeria, they'll say, they look up to us. You guys, you have Chinua Achebe, you have Wole Soyinka, you have Fela Kuti. What's your problem? You have Chimamanda Adichie. What's your problem? So we have to take ownership and say, yeah, we do have all these people. We have Afrobeats, whether it's Burna Boy, Davido, the Venus Bushfires, all these different people that are exported. Let us look inside and say, wow, we do have a lot. So I wanted, as a content creator, to show Nigeria in all the different sectors that we do have a lot. And that's why with the marketing and communications company that I've started, my own company, I felt I could touch so many sectors. And finance, as I mentioned, I work with banks. Also government, Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, a very great entity. I work in fashion, you know, with brand labels and people across the board. There are great shops like Alara here that also promote African fashion and African business. And did you know even Leventis does a lot of research, Nigerian bottling company, to help this country. And do you know Nigeria was blowing glass 1,000 years, almost 1,000 years before Europe knew glass blowing. And it's been found in Oyo State only recently. So it's very important that architecturally, we take ownership of our country. The Nok civilization that has been in the mid to, I think it's above Abuja, near Benue, and even Niger River, above those basins, that has a lot of artifacts and a lot of archaeological excavation potential. But we've allowed that just to linger. People have stolen a lot of our artifacts. You know, Nigeria was known for Benin bronzes. We were the best smelters of iron before people were smelting iron. So these are things we have to take stock of. And me as a content creator, I bring all that information together and I make sure that people acknowledge it and are aware of it. So then that will uplift us all. Now, this is a political question, but I believe with our background of the last 20, 30 years, we've had, sadly, leaders who have been militarily inclined, let's just call it that. And as we know, military people, they don't like educated people because educated people will ask questions. So we have had what we call a dismemberment of education in Nigeria. the last 35 years. And that has played an endemic part in retarding the gross domestic productivity of our country, because our youth and even people up to my age and older have not had the infrastructure, middle-class education that is needed for a country to grow. You look at the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century in Europe, especially in Britain, and you look how they were expanded by merchants and artisans and specific skilled workers. Apprenticeships were big, education was huge. There was what they call a noblesse obligée, a nobility obligation, that people who are rich give back to institutions, not to church, to institutions that will help education. And that is where I think we've had a disconnect. Education was lacking. So for me, the way that we can help, it takes time. This new government is in. They are trying to implement the 8-point agenda, which is a good agenda. But everyone's looking for results now. Nigeria has been in a very bad state. There's global downturn. Obviously, cost of living is so high as it has been for a while. Nigeria is exacerbated, but in Europe, cost of living is high. There are some stupid wars going on around the world that has meant oil prices have skyrocketed. And you know, with the rocketing of oil, everything goes up price-wise. So Nigeria needs to reevaluate education and apprenticeship. I believe even in fashion industry especially, apprenticeship is very important. Whether it's weaving, designing, marketing, online, whatever it is, factories, you need apprenticeship. And that's the quick fix of education. But education is fundamental to everything. Education of men and women, or girls and boys, both. Let's be honest, we need both sides of our genders to work together. You know, Yoruba, we've always been what we call a dual binary kind of culture. We've always thought of male and female as one, and it's very important. Even in our names, Taiwo and Kehinde, we won't know if it's male or female. So we have to really educate ourselves that we can work together. And I think our women are our future. I can't even emphasize that more. And education is key. But it takes time. I think Japa syndrome is very real. Everyone wants a better life. Let's not lie. You want a better life for yourselves, but for your family, your parents, your children. And the opportunities in Nigeria, even when you have been educated and you finish graduate here, to find jobs is not easy. The infrastructure is very bad for job creation. And this is being worked on, you know. And the last 8 years has been fundamentally broken. But we know this new government is changing that. But specifically, Japa in Canada, they need our brains. You go across the world and you ask any nation, especially America, who are the best educated, the best, integrated, and the most proficient people, Nigerians. So it's not that we are stupid, it's that we don't have the infrastructure at home. And America, Canada, Europe, they're giving us the infrastructure. So getting out of Nigeria is not easy. There are opportunities and policies that allow it, but going across the border to Libya is not the way. You spend $5,000, $4,000, which is almost 4 or 5 million naira to try and get to Europe, and then you are treated like a dog when you get there. That's not the way. But, you know, there are certain policies that can take you to these countries. And in Britain, for instance, it's not all, the streets aren't paved in gold, but if you earn £1 in Britain, send that home, that £1 is 1,300 naira. So, and the minimum wage is £14 an hour now in Britain. So you can do the maths of that. So someone who is earning £14 an hour, if they work 10 hours in a day, they've earned over £100, which is 100,000 naira. So the maths, of course, is what makes people want to go there, because even if you are working there, obviously you're paying British rates, so your rent, your cost of utilities, your food and drink, your transport comes into play. It's not cheap there. But the money you send, even if you're only sending £100 a month back to your mom, that's 100,000 naira. So, or 130,000 naira in today's rate. So you can do the maths. That's why people are going. And the security in these countries is, and the education, to be quite frank, is better. But it doesn't mean they are better. We have to build a house, you must thatch the roof from within, so your roof doesn't cave in. And I think that's very important. Not that people shouldn't go home. I mean, go out of the country, but they should always come home as they can. Because we need, you see the Pakistanis doing it, you see the Indians doing it, you see the Arabs, they go home and they build their own countries. It's not good to just japa and live. You have to come home small. I think my success is down to, as much as I can say a success, because it's still a book that is not finished and the stories are still unwritten, is a tenacity of hard work. It's very important that people understand that it takes a lifetime to look like an overnight success. It doesn't just come. What I'm still doing, I'm not the most successful in my business, but I love my business. And if you can find something that you love and you can make money out of, then you're in heaven on earth, to be quite frank. I think my spirituality and my faith is very important, as is my wife's. My wife, Helen Epega, she wrote the world's first Pidgin English opera. And we've been staging it here in London. We played in Cape Town, in Nairobi, and in Lagos, sorry. And we've staged it in London. We're at the Royal Albert Hall next year. I'm executive producer of that. So I think my success, to add to that, is that I don't put all my eggs in one basket. And I work very hard to make sure I research and obtain knowledge of the next thing, or what was the last thing. I'm a historian as well. And I put things in perspective. And I try to add value as I can. But as my momsy used to say, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So I like to listen as well. And from children you can learn, from grandpapa you can learn. So humility is very important. I'm not arrogant with it. And I think that's the most important part. Collaboration, humility, and shared drive. But also knowing that for me, Saturday and Sunday, I'm off. That's my time for the family. I take a break. Sunday, even God rested on the 7th day. Me too, I rest. I'm not 24/7, even though this weekend we have a big fashion event, but that's work. But when I take my tools down, it's tools down. No one can call me on Sunday morning. So you can't be BOing to people. Never let anyone own you like that. That's what I say. Someone calling you on Sunday morning, obviously in journalism, in film, there's a different projects. I'm not saying every time, but just be aware of yourself and your mental health. That's the most important. Sure. The world's first Pidgin English opera is a show about a Nigerian fabled people. It's almost like Orisha, but it's not. There are people who are Mami Waters as well as they are spiritual people. They are the guardians of the galaxy, to use an expression. There is God, the all-faithful God, and the all-knowing God, omniscient, omnipotent. But below that, there are all these almost demigods that look after, let's say, this sector of the universe. And these people are singers. They sing opera. But they sing it with Pidgin English. And you know, Pidgin is a language that is known by most Nigerians, but it's a language that people shun and say, it's a bad language. But they speak Pidgin in Hawaii. They speak Pidgin in China. They speak Pidgin, Old English Cockney is Pidgin. American even is a form of Pidgin because they've Yankified English. So what my wife has done, Helen Epega, she's also known as the Venus Bushfires. She's an Afrofuturist musician. She composes songs. So she put together this compilation, which is a Pidgin English opera musical. And it's a show that lasts for about 45 minutes or an hour and a half. It depends if you're doing the short version or long version. So we have tenors, we have sopranos, we have violinists, we have kura player, and my wife plays something called the hang, which is like 2 tortoise shell steel drums that sound like a harp. And she plays that, and she sings. She's the main protagonist in this. And it's a drama about all these people that have come, the many people who are meant to look after the planet, but they lose their voice. So Earth is, because God is angry with them, Earth, and says these people are rubbish. But the many people say to God, please, give them one more chance. They're not that bad. I know they're fighting, there's lots of wars, but give them another chance. So the lead Kanate of these many people has to go to the Venus bushfire, which is the heavenly celestial place, to bring the voice back, to sing Earth back into harmony. So it's a drama, and it kind of plays on our old cultural awareness in Africa and heritage of Nigeria of there are other beings. And you must have faith in your ancestors as well as in a God. And the deities, as we know in Yoruba, I think there are 7 deities. And these are very important cultural awareness that we try to give to children as well. I think the filmmaking in Nigeria is burgeoning. AFRIF, the African Film Festival, International Film Festival, is on now, which is a great show. I helped incept in 2010, many years ago. We had it in Port Harcourt. It was Governor Rotimi Amici that started that campaign, but it's going on very strongly now. Nollywood, as we call it, is being noticed by the international market, whether it's Netflix or Hollywood. I would like to tell you something, actually, which is, I haven't divulged this for many years. My great uncle, whose name is Pa Orlando Martins, God rest his soul, was one of the first African actors in Hollywood. He acted in the 30s with people like Ronald Reagan, Katharine Hepburn, and Bob Hope. And he always played a part as an African prince or chief. He was never like denigrated or made into a lower African slave or anything. And I think that instilled something in my mind with this film industry. I think it's very important that Nigeria, as it is, we have some great actors like Wale Ojo and Ramsey Noah. They are playing parts in producing their own shows. And it's very important. Like in America, you obviously have people like Mel Gibson, Robert De Niro, who have produced their own films as well. That Nigerians are not just actors or technicians, they are also producers and directors. It's very important that we have that link within our industry. And we make friends and we forge relationships, not just with Hollywood, there's Bollywood, the Indian industry, and there's also Chinawood, because China's film industry is massive. Technically, I think just as big as Hollywood. So we must look to ourselves in Africa as well. There's some great film makers from Zimbabwe, South Africa, Ghana, and I think collaboration is, I always use collaboration because I would not be here without collaboration. Obviously, my wife, you collaborate with your spouse, but also my businesses. I have very good English business partner. He's really a business partner. I've started a new business. I collaborate with all kinds of industries and different sectors. So for film industry, I think it's important that we push our heritage forward because people want to know about Nigeria. They love, in Africa, they love Nollywood stories, and that's a fact. And we can expand by using distribution. Distribution is key. Netflix, all the Hollywood film houses, negotiate with them. Even if you don't get the best price for this show, make sure you check your contract, make sure you get it for your next film. So I think that's important, distribution. While I'm still alive, that's a very good question. Hope springs eternal with me, and I am optimistic about Nigeria. I think Nigeria is not what we all will think it will be. It's something it's a country that needs to be more fluid. We have in diaspora a lot of powerful individuals and groups. I think we need to connect even more with those individuals and groups who need to invest in Nigeria. Our youth is very talented and is very able, but it's also very abundant. So we need to find a way to link up education, apprenticeship to these youth to give them something that is productive to work in. And that means expanding your mind as parents. It's not just doctors, lawyers, bankers that we need. We need artisans, we need creatives. And that's the most important point. It's a mind block. So for me, if we can work on Nigeria's mind psyche and the taboos of oh, we don't want our child to marry a musician. You know, even as a musician, you don't just have to be a rapper. You could be a music engineer. You could be a filmmaker. You could be an engineer that works with the technical aspects of editing. You could be a designer. There's so many aspects. So I say to my utopian Nigeria, learn from your brothers and sisters. International research online is very important. And for me, the dream is to see Nigeria as a fluid country of strength in Africa, where we're trading with African countries and we're using what we have as our asset. Technically, of course, we need Europe and America and everything, but we have it in Africa. We have it in Nigeria. So my beauty of Nigeria would be if we become our own Wakanda, working with other African states and enhancing our own GDP as well as our region and our continent's GDP working together. Gosh, my favorite, what's the first one? Food. As you can see, I like my food. I like a mixture actually. I like amala. I like yams. I swallow very well. Whether it's with obonosu, that's very good. But also, from my mother's riverside, there's one okra, seafood okra that my mom used to make. And I still strive to find that. I go and find that whenever I go away. In London, you have some nice Nigerian restaurants, and in Lagos, of course, as across Nigeria. But nothing like home cooking when my wife makes me a nice, I suppose she makes a goosey for me, eba, and that's my staple. My best music, I love Afrobeats, of course, but predominantly I'm a Fela man. Ebenezer Obey. I like the old styles. And I also like Zaire music. There's high life that comes across Africa. But to be lied to say I don't like Jimi Hendrix. I like Jimi Hendrix. He's a guitarist, a Native American, African-American guitarist. I love his kind of music. So those are my mainstays, and Gorillaz and De La Soul are still very great music of mine. Those are my Spotify at the moment. What was the other question? I like wrestling. They used to call it Gidigbo back in the day, Yoruba wrestling. I used to love that. I haven't seen that much lately, but I like Nigerian wrestling. Obviously, we play good football. We're great footballers as well, globally. But you said Nigerian sports. Polo. Nigeria, I like Nigerian polo as well. To my young brethren and children of Nigeria, I say it's important hard work. Hard work, research, and belief in yourself. Obviously, times are very tough at the moment, and money is tight. But with your own creativity, you can build your empire from there. I always believe that from one's mind, you can make worlds, and you shouldn't give up. Obviously, if you're not very great at one thing, you find what you are great at. But always be honest with yourself and treat others how you want to be treated. And remember, collaboration is the key or the little sister of success. And always have a smile. Very important. That's what I say.
My name is Becky Elijah. I'm from UBA, so keep watching SOUQ News.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Esther Ashimi, keep watching SOUQ News.
Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Helen Otongwa. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Okpeyemi Temiyemi. I am an entertainer. I am representing Egypt, as you can see. So keep watching SOUQ News.
Hi, my name is Nenna Okavi. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Tom Aldo. Keep watching SOUQ News.
I'm Elizabeth from POS Services UBA. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Hi, my name is Kelechi Agu. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Hello Lagos, make we yarn.
wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you fake a lot, the warriors.
Okay, so Mona, listen, if you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbefi. They don't walk that bar road where they worry for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what? Development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse. We dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogbefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM.
My name is Ali Young. I'm with the Gamehers, which is a social media tech platform for women in video games. And we're here in Nigeria today. Glad to be here. People are just absolutely lovely. The food is fantastic, and looking forward to getting out of the hotel and conference and seeing much more. For me, I'm a gamer. I met my husband playing video games 20 years ago, and it actually is something that has been part of my lifestyle. Family time is spent with my daughter and my husband playing video games. We've met online friends in person, gone on vacations with them. They were part of our wedding. It's really been just an amazing connection point and social point for us. And so when I had the opportunity to work with the Gamehers, it really became home to me, right? Because it's with people who are very like-minded and an amazing community. Yes, so the Gamehers, social media tech platform for women in the video game industry, creators, game devs, entrepreneurs. And for us, we are a safe space where people can connect. Something that you and I spoke about earlier around, playing video games and feeling the pressure to be good at it and wanting to, and kind of the toxicity around the online culture a little bit. Because it is a little bit male-dominated, right? And I feel like the Gamehers was built around that. In fact, I remember the very first gaming conference that I went to, and literally it was a room that had about 200 people, and there were 3 women, including myself. And I thought, we have to do better, right? I mean, I play video games. I have friends that play video games who are women, and I feel like it's extremely important for us to spread that message that it is okay to play video games as a female. Additionally, Gen A, Gen Z, 98% of the younger generations are playing video games now, right? They don't identify as gamers like people who go to movies don't identify as movieists, right? And so it's just a part of their life. And what's interesting is that even though there are 3.2 billion gamers globally, and half of those are women, we're still underrepresented in the professional esports world, in game development, and leadership positions. So so it was New Year's Eve, and I had busted my knee. I was living in Colorado. I busted my knee skiing. And so there I was at home for the very first time doing nothing on New Year's Eve. And I thought to myself, maybe I'll go check out this game, right? And so I jumped on this video game and had my knee propped up, having a drink and just relaxing. And I see online a chat that there was this giveaway for an online New Year's Eve party. And I thought to myself, this is the lamest thing I have ever seen in my life. I will never share this story out loud. And I went to this online New Year's Eve party where they were giving away free stuff and in-game free stuff, right? And so I'm in there, and it was player versus player games, so people could attack each other and kill each other in the game. And so as I was standing there, this guy jumped this other guy, slayed him in the game, and the dead player dropped gear, and you could rename it. And so this guy picks up the gear like a serial killer, brands it so-and-so's baldric, and I thought it was hilarious, and that was my husband, now husband. So he's not a serial killer though, so that's good. I'll share this with you. So the game Hers, since its inception in 2020, we created a platform where we celebrate women through the Game Hers Awards. And we had our first, it had been virtual through COVID, and we had our first live Game Hers Awards in Atlanta in March 1 to kick off Women's History Month. And we had a room full of 300 people, women and their allies, where we celebrated their contributions to other women in gaming and inclusivity. And it was incredible to just see people who haven't met in person. I mean, if you think about how you work with people now and remote life is so prevalent, I mean, you think about how you meet people online now anyway, right? And then when you meet them in person, that relationship just escalates and just gets even better. And so the Game Hers provides that space to be able to do that, right? We have an online community. We provide opportunities to meet in person through a lot of different events. Much like Dunhill Ventures brings together, they bring together family offices and investors to connect and create networks and create relationships. That's what the Game Hers does. Video games has become the new media. I mean, when you look at live streaming, when you look at content creation, there's such a big piece of that's entertainment. And as a person who plays video games, you get to do both, right? I mean, if you go to a restaurant now or a bar, you see concepts where there's axe throwing, there's things you can do, play golf, right? Like the video gaming is just a lifestyle piece of that. I think that it's just become normalized. I mean, my daughter's generation, she's 17. She's been playing video games since she was 2. Right, and whether that's learning video games and educational video games, or it's Call of Duty. I mean, she plays them all, and she tries them. A lot of times, it's her friend group. Her friends like to play video games as well, and so they do that together. Sometimes in person, where their computers next to each other, or on consoles, and sometimes that's just online. So I think we all play games. I mean, if you played soccer when you were younger, or football, right? If you played basketball or sports, we compete all the time, right? Leaderboards, points, things like that. I mean, everything is a game. And so I think that the Game Hers provides a place where women who play video games can connect. And that's the beauty of it. So I was actually in Riyadh when I met the Dunhill Ventures group, and they invited us to come out to Lagos. It was an opportunity. I was supposed to be at South by Southwest this week and ended up canceling all my travel plans. Told the team, I was like, I am gonna stay in Riyadh for a couple of days and then go straight to Lagos because the opportunity here is vast. The demographics in this region and in Africa has the youngest, the youngest demographics. Gen A, Gen Zs, 98% are gamers, and so the population is intrinsically part of our group. However, organically, our international 10% of our international community is in Nigeria. And that has just been organic. We haven't done any programming here. We haven't done any events. It's just people finding us online and connecting with our team, with our community. So we are the Gamehers. That's TheGamehers. On all socials and thegamehers.com. Please download our app. It's tgh.app, and it can be downloaded on Apple, Google, and we're also on desktop as well. And connect with us. Our community, surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, is very inclusive. While we focus on women and we are femme-based, we do have non-binaries and femme-identifying peoples, and also our allies who are men and male. So you stand to gain an amazing community of like-minded people, find your tribe, find people to play games with, find people to learn from, as well as opportunities for education, on career development, and entrepreneurship. Absolutely. So we partner with a lot of game developers. We are not a game developer, but we provide opportunities for women in game development, as well as Riot Games is one of our early investors and a big partner. Also, I play a lot of their games too. It's a big perk to get in the alpha stages and get to try out different games. But we have opportunities for women to even, our Discord channel, for example, has game nights, right? Where women get to try out different games, whether that's a mobile game or even a party game from Jackbox Games. There are different things that we use to connect and leverage through video games. I see there's a lot of there had been. I feel like it's starting to shift the other way. There had been, you hear stories about gamers who play too much, and I think I read a story about someone who played too long and died of seizures. I mean, that's probably the extreme, right? And let's be transparent and talk about it, because I think that as a parent myself, balance is everything. But however, in order to get good at anything, I mean, you have to spend the 10,000 hours, right? And so I actually told my daughter that I wanted her to play at least 2 hours a day because, I mean, to me, if you're actually going to get good, then why would you limit yourself, right? But you have to do it in a healthy manner. You have to take breaks, you have to stretch, you have to eat, you have to do all these things and keep your health going. I mean, just like in any sport. Gaming has been shown to teach our children and to teach ourselves mental acuity, hand-eye coordination, problem solving, which I feel doesn't happen enough. But gamers have to learn how to lose, which is also something that doesn't happen enough. And also the grit to keep going, right? And so I think there are a lot of very good benefits to gaming, just as well as negative things, just as well as anything else. We are very focused this year on our international growth, and this is part of it. If you're connecting with us, join our community, get to know the people and connect with the people first, and then find affinities to the different games that you want to play. There's so many different kinds of games. There's a game for everyone.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Well, thank you very much indeed. My name is Stephen Kola Balogun. I happen to be a lawyer, and I call myself a pseudo-politician, not quite a politician, but I've served in government before, and I'm delighted to be here. Well, thank you very much. Well, yes, is it my family or the wider family? I mean, like I said, I'm the son of Chief Dr. Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Like I said, he was a former politician, a frontline politician. He was the General Secretary of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, later National Council of Nigerian Citizens. He was the General Secretary of that party for about 8 years. From there, he was appointed by SOUQ to become a federal minister. He was initially a federal minister without portfolio. Consequently, after that, he became acting minister for labor, social services, and then he became Nigeria's first federal minister for information in 1956. He held that portfolio to 1958. Thereafter, he resigned from government. He had disagreement with the party. And Tafawa Balewa felt that he was a useful politician that could be sent to Ghana. And he went to Ghana to find out what was. Ghana was a bit ahead of us in terms of politics at the time. I think it's fair to say they got independence just before us. And Tafawa Balewa wanted someone to understudy, to find out what we're doing. So he sent Kola Balogun there. Initially, he was commissioner. And later, when we gained independence in 1960, he became High Commissioner. Shortly after that, when we became independent, he yearned to come home. He wanted to take part in the new political atmosphere at the time. He asked the Prime Minister to relieve him, to let him come back, and he did come back home. And immediately, he took up the position of being chairman of the National Shipping Line. That was a position he held on to until the military struck in 1966. But even then, when the military did strike in 1966, he still continued. I think General Debayo of blessed memory invited him to join his cabinet, and he served as a commissioner for about 3 years or more. I think he was commissioner for health and was commissioner for education. Later, he also became chairman of the sketch group of companies as well. And that was about it. I think after he stayed in government, he decided to go and do a PhD at the University of Ibadan. And then he went back into private legal practice. And then he started this agitation for the creation of Osun State. He and a few others set up the movement. He was the chairman of the movement. And then to the glory of God, in 1991, Osun State was created. And that's it.
Tell us about mommy.
Well, yes, my mother. Well, in those days, the women once were not so much in the forefront, But my mother has been my bedrock. She stood by me, and she has backed me in most of the things I've set out to do, And she's still alive. She's 89 this year, and she's still doing well. She's still
and your wife
going
and
strong.
the kids?
Yes, my children. Yes, I have 3 girls, 3 daughters. My oldest is 31. She studied at King's College London. She did reasonably well. She got a 7th class upper. Proud of her. She's an art curator today. They have twin girls as well who are also in university now, that they haven't graduated yet. One of them is in Oxford University. She's studying history and politics. And the other is in Cambridge University. She's studying human, social, and political sciences. So, yeah. I did. I mean, my father, Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. Yes, he was in the first cabinet in the First Republic, the first ever cabinet Nigeria had, and he served as the Federal Minister of Information and Research. As a matter of fact, he happened to be Nigeria's first information minister. Later, T.O.S. Benson, of course, became the independent Nigeria's first information minister, but independent Nigeria. But Nigeria's first ever information minister happened to be Chief Kolawole Balogun of blessed memory. No, I didn't. I took an opposite route from my father. My father went into politics straight immediately after he finished his education, and then he now ventured into law a little bit later. I decided to look at things differently. I thought that after academics I should practice law a bit, and that's what I've been doing. But at some point, I think that was in about 2011, I was called upon to serve in the Osun State government as a commissioner, and I took up that opportunity, and I enjoyed myself. Well, I am in the sense that I'm 65 years old now, and I think it's fair to say that we belong to, well, I would say the first set, but one of those who benefited from Nigerian education. I schooled here. I went to secondary school in the West. I went to the University of Ife. Went to the Nigerian Law School. I think it's fair to say that all the schools at that time were of high quality, produced top quality students who went on to make names for themselves, not just here in Nigeria, but also abroad. I think we still do that now, even though the standard of education has dropped. The sad thing about it is that Nigeria could have been a lot better in terms of the potential, because Nigeria does have a lot of potential. We do have very brilliant young men and women, and I just think that if we had invested more in education, that we could have, the sky would have been the limit, actually. Well, my take on this is that it's the system of law itself. As a young lawyer, I experienced a few challenges myself, and I think one of the obvious challenges is the appeal structure. It's too easy to appeal against judgments. At the same time, when you file actions in court, there are no penalties for costs. In other words, I can file a frivolous action. I could insult you, as an example, and then you could sue me. And I say to myself, well, I'm going to eke it out. I'm going to take it. You're going to have to take me all the way to the Supreme Court. That doesn't make sense. That's not fair. On the other hand, I could also file a frivolous application against you. And then filing a frivolous application, I could call you something you are not. I could defame you. And in so doing, you expect at least that once you prove your case, that I will be made to pay the penalties for filing frivolous applications. But that doesn't happen. And then, of course, the conditions of the judges. I mean, judges are still writing longhand. They do trials, they sit there, they listen to witnesses, give evidence, and they have to write all these things down longhand. So there's so many challenges that has hampered the progress of law, and there hasn't been enough investment, I must say. Well, I agree with that, and I'm going to give an example as to how that I think we could possibly do that. Now, the Supreme Court hears everything. It's the final court in Nigeria. So they're going to hear issues related to criminal law, civil matters, constitutional matters, as you know, all these matters that's got to do with elections, so on and so forth. As a matter of fact, when we have an election cycle, the legal system slows down because the judges are hampered. They're too busy listening to the various appeals from the various states and the federal government to do with the elections. So as a consequence, the other matters to deal with shipping, banking, criminal law are put on the back burner. I think we need what you call a constitutional court, whereby which the judges in the Supreme Court are divided. So you have those judges whose responsibility it is entirely to deal with constitutional matters, and then you have another set whose duty will be to deal with shipping, banking, civil matters, criminal matters, and so on and so forth. So I believe it's high time Nigeria has a constitutional court to try and aid the Supreme Court with the workload they have, which is, quite frankly, quite a bit. Well, Nigerians, with respect, are very brilliant, very intelligent, and they are very aware. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a tailor, you're a driver, you're a lawyer, engineer, they are quite well informed. And the truth of the matter really is that this is the longest republic we've had. This republic started in 1999, and this is 2025, so 26 years. Nigeria's never had a republic this long. But the main flaw is the one you just mentioned. The fact that that constitution that was bequeathed to us by the military in 1999 was never really approved by the people. Now, that doesn't make sense, and that's unfair. In fairness, we ought to be able to look at the constitution, improve upon it, and put our own input into it. Now, there's a way around that, and I've always believed, many people oppose this, but I'm of the view that what Nigerians need to have is a referendum. Have a referendum to ask the Nigerian people whether they want to persist with the 1999 constitution, or do they want to draw up a new one? If the answer to that question is yes, we want to drop a new constitution, then that puts paid to the 1999 constitution, and then you can now have a system, a constituent assembly, whatever the case may be, where people will sit around the table and fashion out a new constitution. If the people say no, that means I've indirectly approved the 1999 constitution, and then we continue with it. But what we can't do is continue having this debate, these arguments, as to whether the 1999 constitution has been approved by Nigerians or not, because it has not been. So I think the way around that is to ask the Nigerian people through a referendum, asking them whether they want to persist with this constitution. If they say no, then we have a new one. If they say yes, we continue with the old one. And that ends the debate. every system has its merits. Every system has its advantages and disadvantages. To some extent, the presidential system of government has its advantage. It has the advantage in the sense that it has brought government nearer to the people. So the people of Osun, from where I'm from, for instance, now, have their own state. Same thing can be said, it's been replicated across the country. However, the drawbacks, the disadvantage is the fact that it's extremely expensive. Now, look at Nigeria, for instance, now. We have 36 state governments. So that means we have 36 governments in Nigeria. If you add the government of Abuja, if you add the federal government, that's 38. Now, each one of these governments have some form of legislature, judiciary, an executive as well, local government, civil service. It's too expensive. Look, in America, where we borrowed this system from, the states came together to form a union. This is totally different. We are doing it the opposite way. So we've had a structure that we're now going back. So at the end of the day, many of the state governments are still dependent on the federal government. And as a consequence, the kind of progress we ought to be making, we're not quite making it. So I personally, and this is a personal view because others would disagree, I would prefer that we reduce the size of government by having some kind of regional structure. And I believe that that will reduce the burden of governments. And if we can reduce the burdens of government, we can use this money to do many other things. And I also think it will also improve standards as well. Not just standards of government or parliamentary standards or whatever the case may be, but there'll be less people involved in the political system. And that would help us a great deal. Well, I think it's fair to say that since 1999, we haven't had any new state creation. I know there's been agitation for the creation of states, but there hasn't been any. The process for creating a state is quite cumbersome. It's not easy. I think it's in Section 8 and 9 of the Constitution. I don't think it's something we should be looking at. I think, like I said to you earlier, I think we should be trying to reduce the number of states, and I think some kind of regional structure whereby which we can monitor better what's going on rather than having more states. So I personally would not encourage the creation of more states, no. In the 1950s, we had 3 regions, if I'm correct. Those regions were the West, the East, and the North. We had the colony of Lagos, but if I'm right, I think it was the MacPherson Constitution, I think it is, I'm not too sure, that now put Lagos under the Western region. Now, when Lagos was placed under the Western region, lots of people were not happy about that. I remember my father was in the NCNC. The NCNC people were not particularly pleased, neither were the NPC. So they felt that Lagos belonged to everybody. Like I said, lots of people from different walks of life, different tribes, different backgrounds, and all schooled. I mean, Zik schooled in Lagos. He went to MBHS. So it was the issue was sent to London to arbitrate. I think it was Oliver Littleton that arbitrated over the matter. And it was decided that Lagos should stand on its own, that Lagos should not be merged with any of the regions. And that was how Lagos was able to free itself from the shackles of the Western region. It's fair to say that the position of the NCNC was actually argued in London by my father. That's why I'm quite familiar with this. But talking about Lagos, when the military, after that, we had what you called a minister for Lagos. I think there was Ribadu, and I think there was one other person, but I think it was Yaradua, not the same Yaradua, but his father. And then later after that, when the military struck, they created the state of Lagos. So the issue of giving Lagos special status has more or less been taken over by events. Lagos is a state, and as a state, it's still home to different people with different backgrounds, from different tribes, and it's thriving. I think it's fair to say that Lagos is probably the most prosperous state in the country. And it's just a question of it having continued with good governance and improving the strides they have made. Once again, let's go back to the past. We had what we used to call the House of Chiefs, wasn't it? And in those House of Chiefs, many of the members of the House of Chiefs were people, were traditional rulers, chiefs from different backgrounds, and they had a say in the running of the affairs of state. It's like it was more or less akin to the House of Lords. So it wasn't necessarily the chamber whereby which the activities of day-to-day governance took place, but they could always refer issues to them. And I think that if we change our structure of governance, if, that's a big if, then yes, we can have something like that. We can have a second chamber, which is more or less advisory in nature, similar to the House of Lords, whereby which we will have obas and chiefs and people of influence who will be able to advise government from day to day from the experiences and the way forward, but not necessarily binding. I think that's important. That decisions won't necessarily be binding on us, but at least they'll be able to share their views and experiences with the people. That's a big issue. I was commissioner for youth in Osun about 10 years ago under Rauf Aregbesola, and it was an issue we took quite seriously. In Osun State, we had quite a number of youths who were unemployed, and the governor thought, what can I possibly do to give them something to do, to keep them employed? So he created what we call the Osun State Youth Empowerment Scheme. Now, under the State Youth Empowerment Scheme, unemployed youths were given particular tasks in state. Help us sweep the roads. Some were part-time lecturers. Some were doing all sorts of things. They were given a stipend. It wasn't a full-blown salary. Or the salary, although the stipend was enough to keep them to be able to buy things, to be able to buy themselves drinks and food, and kept them occupied until they could find themselves a job. And I think the federal government could follow that kind of scheme, set up a youth empowerment scheme whereby which unemployed youths are given things to do. There's so many things that need to be done in Nigeria. There's so many gaps whereby which the youths can help do that. In the interim, while they find themselves something more gainful or something more permanent. So it's a question, it's for government to do. It's for government to think of a way of helping out the youths. And of course, there should be partnerships, a partnership between the government and private enterprise to try and encourage them to take on more of our youths, and not necessarily those who have schooled abroad, who they think are probably the best in terms of employment. No, we have many here who can do a good job as well. Sustaining democracy is about discipline. It's about the people being disciplined. It's about those who rule us being disciplined. I started out by telling you that this is the longest government we've had. It's the longest republic we've had. We've had democracy now since 1999, 26 years. If you go back to the days of independence, there's been no republic that has been this long. So it shows that the people have embraced democracy. They've come to it's part of us now. They've come to enjoy it. Yes, there are hiccups in terms of the fact that we could do a lot better in terms of how we implement things. But in terms of the people yearning for democracy and imbibing it, I think we've done very well. And what we just need to do is just to try and perfect it. One of the ways, like I said much earlier, is to perhaps take a second look at the Constitution, see where areas where we can improve, and try and make people happy, and at the same time reduce the cost of governance. But I don't think democracy is going anywhere. I think it's here to stay.
My name is Shino Ogbadegeshin. I'm the CEO of Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch SOUQ News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching SOUQ News, okay? Stay updated with SOUQ News.
My name is Aton Keme. I am the head of MSME Banking. Please keep watching SOUQ News and stay glued to SOUQ News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch SOUQ News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Well, I would say now he's gotten the job. If this question had come before now, I would be able to say that I do not think we need him. But he's there now, so all we need to do is see what best he can do or what best we can do to support him to succeed. Now, going by his previous records, going by all that he's achieved in sports, ordinarily, one wouldn't have said he's the best for the Super Eagles at this time. But here we are. Decision makers have made their decisions. They've taken the decisions. We can only talk, but they already have their way. Well, I think his assessment will start when he starts playing games. He's not had any game with Nigeria, so we can't assess him. But going by his previous records, I don't think he would have been the best for Nigeria at this time. Not against other homegrown indigenous coaches who have had better records within and outside Nigeria. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't think Shele will fit in at any point. But of course, having him been appointed, all we need to do is give support and see the best that we can get from him being Nigerians. And of course, at all times, irrespective of whatever decisions are taken, we want Nigeria to excel. Because in Nigeria's excellence, we are proud. In Nigeria's excellence, those of us that are in the media and sporting media, to be precise, we can do business. If Nigeria is not winning, the biggest brand for Nigeria is the Super Eagles, sports-wise. So if Nigeria is not winning, if Nigeria is not making waves, then we don't have business to do. So it's in our interest that he succeeds. So to that extent, I would say yes. But looking at his appointment, I think it's just a part of the over-politicization of the sporting industry. Power show by the immediate past president of the Football Federation, Melvin Pinnick Amaju. Having failed in his 2 terms, continues to transverse the terrain to show he still has power. And of course, he brought Shele. And of course, the Shehu Gusau, the incumbent president of the Football Federation, has to listen to his master. So his master's voice, that's what we're experiencing. If they like, let them bring the Sadi. See, there are things about Nigeria and Nigerian sports that should not surprise anybody. Politics are played everywhere, and balancing of acts are played everywhere. federal character everywhere. And the federal character thing is just all very pretentious things they do. Definitely it's not for the interest of Nigeria. Just to show that, okay, we've taken somebody from the south, or we've taken one from the west, or we are now taking from the north. Who will take in the north? Let's bring Ahmed Musa. He's calm. He'll be able to talk to the players. What is he going to say to the players? He's past his prime a long time ago. So it's all politics and not in the interest of the nation. I can tell you that. But for Chelle going around Europe, yes, he has to. Because everywhere you go, to be the chief coach of the Nigerian national team, senior national team, can be a huge task. Because every day you have Nigerian boys showing up in big leagues, in small clubs, in championship clubs, even around the country. You find players everywhere. Nigeria, I think today, if we are not exporting oil, I think we are exporting footballers to everywhere, even those that are born abroad. I mean, you can imagine this young boy at Arsenal, 17, Ethnan Waneri, and there's Anokoli, there's Ndidi, both at Leicester City. So everywhere you go, you see Nigerian boys showing stuff. So to be the coach of a Nigerian team at the level of the Super Eagles is a huge task. One would expect that we should have a scouting department. One would expect that we have a department that should take charge of team psychology. We expect that we have the technical department or the directorate for technical at the Football Federation to be well equipped with people that are sound in mind, sound technically, and have capacity to work and deliver. With all of that put together, then they should be able to advise and situate the coach at the point where he can deliver and work well. Well, you see, I said yes, because I've been one of those that have always been clamoring that there's need to have a National Sports Commission. Now, having a National Sports Commission that is populated or that is headed by politicians is neither here nor there. It may not take us anywhere. We need to separate our sport. Yes, sports you cannot do away with politics at some level. But in terms of the administration, in terms of the management, in terms of the execution, there's need to be able to separate sports and politics. In the days where we held sway in sports, where the National Sports Commission functioned effectively, all of those that occupied the position as Director General, as directors in the then National Sports Commission, were professionals. If you recall from the days of Abraham Odia, Awotru Eleya, and of course Isaac Akioye, that laid the structure and foundation for a proper National Sports Commission just after the All-Africa Games, was a thoroughbred professional from the University of Ife. And there are other such professionals all around this country. And you need to ask, if we are not able to seek and give these people jobs and give them tasks to deliver, we always will go look for political loyalists to put in positions so that they answer to us. Politics is just, to me these days, it's more like a window for public relations for political parties and individuals that are into politics to express themselves, or maybe also at the same time also reward loyalists. That's what we find. So in terms of the technicalities on administration and management of sports, in its true sense, we're still very far from it. Plenty improvement, I would say. The current managers of the league are doing everything they can to ensure that our league gets back to a competitive level at the continent, gets back to a competitive level at the rate at which we, those of us local people like myself, can appreciate our football and our footballers once again. The question to ask is to say, are we doing enough? The answer will be no. Who are those not doing enough? The media, the sporting media in Nigeria is not doing well enough. Would I say sporting media? Yes. And also the bigger media is not doing well enough. And because we are not doing well enough, that's why our league is still where it is. We would have gone further than this. The other aspect of it is government. Government across the states. Football business is supposed to be good business. Football business is supposed to be run by private individuals and clubs. There's nothing wrong to say that the people of a particular state cannot run a football club in conjunction with other private individuals who will be stakeholders and are interested in the promotion of sport and football in the sense that we're talking about it now. But what we have is that we have state governments owning football teams, and those that are administering the football teams are SA this, SA that have been appointed as a reward, that have been appointed because they are loyal, that have been appointed because they can talk a little bit about foreign leagues. Somebody can talk about the league, talk about the La Liga and the EPL, and that qualifies him to be SA in charge of sports in some states of the federation. And these are the bunch of persons, or the group of persons, who are running our football around the country. So, who runs the clubs, the texture of the clubs, what names the clubs are bearing, what history behind the clubs, those are the things that tells you that the states are not doing enough, the Football Federation not doing enough, but I think largely the media, check out our sports programs. All you find are talking heads talking about who scored the best goal in the world, who scored the best goal in Europe, who scored the best goal in England, and all that. That's what we find. You hardly will see shows, package shows about the best goals of the Nigerian league over the past weekend, the best goals, the best dribbles, how many passes, proper statistics, because the media is not doing enough. The sporting media, that is journalists, that are practitioners, they are not doing enough because they are not tasking themselves. They just go on the internet, download one or two things, watch and everything. All you know is you take, as a content creator in sports, you need to just take a shot of the goal that, the assist that Nwaneri gave, or Merino scored a goal for Arsenal, and you superimpose yourself and you talk over it, and that's content. And you post it, and there are likes and there are followers, and that's it, what we do. But you do not have individuals going to places to take content. All around Lagos, that's we look at as we are now, all around Nigeria, sports is going on every day. As a practitioner myself, in those days when I used to be the street reporter, we covered football from everywhere. From Abeson, from Bagada, from Volkswagen, down on Ojo, Abeta, anywhere. All of those places, and boys are still playing football. You go to Evans Square, boys are still playing football. Go to Lafayette, they're still playing football. Go to Alakoro, you still see boxing. So all of these sports are still going on. But where are the journalists that will cover these events and bring them to the fore and package them? The journalists are not ready to do that job. Even those that are ready are not funded. Even those that work are not paid salaries. So everybody is just finding the easy way out, cutting corners and doing their best. Now for our league and our sports to grow, there has to be heavy investment in the media. Because everything you see about the EPL, the La Liga, you take the EPL and analyze it, you see a variety of shows all about the weekend games, the weekend wrap, the best goals, the best flops, the referee angle, even the advertising and marketing. Because when all of this are put in a fray, then people can relate to it. People can leverage on it. Brands can come and give sponsorship. But we are not able to attract sponsorship because there's nothing for the brands to take away. Because if you give brands value, they will attach to it. And it never used to be so. Before 2006, the La Liga was not popular. The EPL was not popular. The Champions League was not popular. What were Nigerians watching? Because the media itself sold out. By investing, Nigerian media organizations came together, put money together, and went to buy rights of the EPL and started broadcasting it on Nigerian television for the consumption of Nigerians so they can make cheap money. From telcos and from the brewing industry, they made more money for themselves. I mean, the media houses, rather than invest in the local league. Then they will tell them, who will watch Nigerian league? I mean, those are the questions they asked at the time. Some of us that that were able to find courage, we found courage and we asked them, why would we be doing this? But of course, we were not many enough for our voices to be heard. And that's why we're here, we are where we are. So it's not far when we lost it. Can we redeem ourselves? Yes, we can, if we want to. But it will take a whole lot of courage. It will take a whole lot of work. It will take a whole lot of commitment. God help us.
My name is Yinka Babalola.
My name is Ijoma Pelokoro.
My name is Joshua Hassan.
I am Rotarian Omosunde Lawson.
It's Ife Yunwarita Ejeze. My friends call me Ife.
My name is Rotarian Lola Dare. I'm inviting you to keep watching SOUQ News. It's the right station to tune to.
I like SOUQ News. SOUQ News is good.
I want to charge you all to listen to SOUQ News, watch the news.
You can have unlimited news first time.
Find SOUQ News. Be with SOUQ News. Never switch off. You are better for it. SOUQ News is the real thing.
Listen to their coverage and you'll be glad you did.
Turn to your YouTube, turn to your Instagram, turn to all your digital channels and look for SOUQ News.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Please, guys, keep watching
SOUQ News.
In a world driven by numbers, decisions shape destinies. Every investment tells a story. Every policy shifts the future. Every market move creates opportunity. At SOUQ News Television and the Hour 95.9 FM, we decode the markets, analyze the numbers, and track the forces shaping Africa's growth.
From boardrooms to capital flows, from policy reforms to capital flows, we follow the money and the momentum. Because progress isn't accidental, it is built, measured, reported. SOUQ News Television, where business leads, economies evolve, where development begins.
I was in Nigeria up until SS1 third term, SS2, and after that I moved to France where I did my A levels, and then after that I moved to England where I did my undergrad, and then my masters I did in America. And European culture is European culture, right? For me, it's actually quite interesting because I learned so much more about Africa outside Africa, right? Because in the education I had in secondary school, there wasn't really much focus on our history or the greatness that Africa was. It almost seemed more like propaganda history, that our history pretty much just started slightly before colonization, and everything else we've become is either our journey to independence and carrying on the system that we're left with, right? Unfortunately, schooling abroad brought this Afrocentric idea into my consciousness. Books about researchers that showed our history that goes all the way back to ancient Egypt, Timbuktu, the Great Empire of Mali, learn about people like Mansa Musa, connecting migrations from what is present-day Nigeria in the southwest up onto the Nile Valley, and the different movements, migration patterns that happen between those two civilizations, right? Aside that, the governance, giving one a higher expectation of what one should expect from government, giving one a high expectation of what democracy should be or what it should look like. Because you can't really operate outside of what you've been exposed to. You know, when the mind has been expanded, it cannot go back to its former size, right? And experiencing what quality education is like, experiencing what good governance is like, experiencing a health system that works, a health system that is checking on people before they get sick because they know that on the long run that will keep the cost of healthcare coverage lower. Preventative medicine as opposed to constantly solving problems as they're happening. Understanding the value of data-driven policy, and how all these come together to create a system that works and that people can thrive in. Understanding the value of people paying taxes, right? And the services they get in return of those taxes. I think these are some of the things that I got from my exposure schooling abroad. And then when I moved back to Nigeria, I did my NYC, and then I started working. I worked in some architecture firms while also running mine and getting some projects, and then went into business. And then when I wanted to go into politics, after leading a GMO campaign alongside other notable patriotic Nigerians, I decided that, you know, experiencing leading a 2,000-man march on the Senate and understanding how they responded to us, which in my opinion did not show people that actually prioritize the well-being of their people, I felt that it's important to go into politics. Okay, so I ran for student council president in high school and won. So politics that way, yeah. You can say since I was 19, having an idea, having the manifesto and selling that idea, understanding problems and proffering solutions and implementation strategies. Yeah, so I can say 18, 19. When I came back and after the GMO, for those that don't know, genetic modified foods, we led a 2-year campaign against the Ministry of Agriculture that was chaired at the time by Akumi Additional to prevent the adoption of genetic modified foods in Nigeria. And that process, engaging politicians and our representatives, I felt that Nigerians deserve better. And I'm not one to just complain and point fingers or tweet on social media. I believe if you engage in something, you need to see it all the way. So I ran for local government chairman. But before that, I actually went to Unilag and got a master's in research and public policy. Now, I had some very brilliant professors, without a doubt, some very, very brilliant professors. People like Professor Jikutu, people like Professor Logbenla, Onoha, a number of very brilliant people. But at the same time, in relation to the level of organization, there's still a way to go, you know. And I think this also comes down to funding our universities properly, ensuring that our professors are well paid, ensuring that we have enough professors. Because a lot of our professors, they are taking so many classes with so many students and they have to bring in their A game to all of these things. We need to prioritize education a lot more in this country, you know. Nigerians are some of the most brilliant human beings in this world. Brilliant, and I'm talking, I just named 3 different countries that have operated in terms of education. And then there are some other 4 countries that I've done work in and I currently have interest in. And Nigerians are there and they are doing wonderful things, right? So we're an intelligent group of people. What we need are the structures and organization that create an enabling environment for us to thrive. I mean, think about what it takes to be successful in this country today. Think about what it takes to be successful in Lagos. Now, imagine a government that puts everything in place and is more like a partner than, you know, this person that's just trying to take from me, right? You would experience an exponential increase in wealth. I think that a person that values education must have had a very good education. if you don't value education, it's a reflection of your own education. I can't think of somebody that's experienced good education that will not prioritize education, because you will know the power of education. And this goes to show when we talk about how it's okay for someone with a NEPA certificate to be our president, and we see the ruin that it brought Nigeria to, or a person that's using lawyers to hide the certificates, right? It will reflect in the quality of your education. So I feel that we need to start demanding more from people that aspire to lead us. Go and look at the quality of education that the leaders of America got. They either went to Yale or Harvard or recently Princeton, Ivy League schools. The top of us have to lead. This idea that you can just pick anybody to lead you to where? This person is like this with you. Where is he leading you to? What vision is this person bringing that is outstanding? Your leader should be outstanding. He cannot be, or she cannot be, part of the flock. You understand? They must be outstanding, either in their strength of character. So you look at America when they want to select their president, George Washington. Why? Because when there was war, the man stood in front. He was a leader. Intelligence, he was a leader. These were people that were inventors. Benjamin Franklin. These were people that were inventing things. They were not just thought leaders. They were on ground. They were policy leaders. They were kings in their own right. It was not a commoner. And I don't mean commoner in the sense of money. You see, people think it's just about money. No, it's about what are your values? What are you willing to stand for? What do you stand for? Right? If the wind blows, you just move to the place that favors your pocket. You clearly don't have a backbone. So how can you lead? And people will say, okay, they just want somebody that they can associate with. Yes, but associate with in what way? In poverty and failure and mediocrity, or in success and a vision that benefits you, your family, and your children, and the greater society, right? Because if you think about it, I say this thing in most interviews I do. My father tells me that his father told him that Nigeria was better in his day. My father told me Nigeria was better in his day. My father graduated, there were jobs, you could get car. Like, only the man had to work, the wife could be a housewife, and they were comfortable. They did not need to steal, to travel, to go on holiday. Right? He came into that. Quality education. There was public education. Right? His father was a judge. His father's driver could send his child to the same school as his boss's son. And they got quality education. Now, I can tell my children that I remember a time when Nigeria was better. When I would change 1 million naira and get 4,000 pounds. I can barely get 1 million naira now with 500 pounds. Do you understand? So it's perpetually in a nosedive. And why is that? Lack of continuity in quality leadership and visionary leadership, right? No leader that is truly focused on creating a Nigerian identity that celebrates our uniqueness and our differences and sees that as a resource as opposed to something that divides us, right? People that are traveling to the UAE, they are going there to enjoy the culture. And this culture is old, it's ancient, but they've repackaged it. That makes people want to come and visit, want to come and spend their hard-earned money there, right? And this is the visionary type of ideas I'm talking about that will create jobs, right? Well, you know, it's a very interesting one. I grew up in a Nigeria where I went to ISL, and speaking traditional languages was called, there's a word for it, starts with say, not vernacular. There was something else. There's another word. It starts with a C. You could not do that. It was against the school rules, right? And you get punished for that. And then even at the time, there was this whole idea of this person, this is local. Like young people, I remember young people saying that is local. The people were not interested with identifying with Nigerian music. Then it was hip hop. It was about Biggie, Puff Daddy, international music. I'm sure I'm betraying my age now. Well, my age is not 80 now, 42. But I'm talking about the time where nobody was wearing trad. We grew up seeing our parents wearing suits, trousers and shirts, And like I said, I don't feel that the education that we got in Nigeria really laid any foundation for you to look deeper into our history, into our culture. And I know this now because I've experienced education elsewhere. And I know how the British lay emphasis on their history. So that even if you're an art student or a science student, you had an in-depth knowledge of the history of your people. And this history is not just a linear one. It's one that is connecting different events and moments and always trying to show your people to be great, right? So you see the British will hide the idea of the part they played in slavery and enslavement. It will not be prominent in the history, but where they conquered or where they uprooted slavery from the African continent, the role they played in doing that will be highlighted, right? That is curated. Now you might say that's not right, it's not fair, but they're programming their citizenry. And that is what a thinking government will prioritize. Same thing with America, right? So I don't really feel we had that in our education system. But then there was an Afrocentric awakening that happened later on. And this had also happened earlier. The kind of thinking that informed people like Nnamdi Azikiwe when he traveled to America, the kind of thinking that informed Fela Anikulapo Kuti when he traveled to America, or even to England, where he met Afro-British people that knew the histories of Africa, that awoken that idea in him, in Fela, in Nnamdi Azikiwe, in a number of Africans, in Kwame Nkrumah, right? They didn't get it at home, they got it elsewhere, and they came and they brought that, we are African, we are great, black is beautiful, And when you open that doorway, it then starts to lead you into understanding your culture more, understanding the depth of it, you see? And it's not our fault, right? We're conquered, our kings were removed, at least the kings that had the courage to fight, they were removed, they were exiled, some were killed, our people were kidnapped. With the collaboration of some Africans, our people were kidnapped and sold. Some of the strongest men were kidnapped and sold. So you have diaspora cousins and everybody outside of the country, the few that were saved, were brought back. But you now had a situation of religion. And unfortunately, the religion that came through in partnership with colonization pretty much said to us that everything that we were before them was bad, was evil, was demonic. So you have a people that claim that they are from a certain tribe, speak the language, but the depth of the thinking they associate with being evil. So there's still a significant level of identity crisis that we struggle with. And you don't really see that with Indians who were colonized by the British. You don't really see it with the Chinese who also dealt with their own level of colonization, nor the Japanese, right? And you see, understanding your identity or crafting your identity as a people, because China, as we're seeing it today, was not just monolithic. It was not just one group of people. There are huge, different groups of people all over China, different tribes, but they were united by a visionary king. Similar thing happened in Japan, right? Similar thing happened in England, right? In England, you had part in what you call England, or what was Great Britain or England at the point. You had the Welsh, you had the Scottish, you had the Irish, right? You know, and they were united at the point by a conqueror, right? So sometimes you also craft identity. Sometimes identity is created by facing a threat that is bigger than all of you independently. So you have to come together to face that. And sometimes it's just visionary leadership, right? You see visionary leadership in Singapore with Lee Kuan Yew. We saw that creates an identity that you can be proud of. Like there is no China man now, or even if there will be very few that will not be proud of China and not want to be associated with the bigger identity of China as opposed to their identity as a tribe, because China is so great and it pays you to be associated with it. It is when there's a failure in that bigger identity that people recoil back to their smaller identity, right? And that's what you find going on in a lot of places. But all in all, yeah. I think the government, you see, what has happened is because we've had governments or politicians that don't really have a vision to sell, they rely on selling division, because the classic divide and rule strategy. If you have a vision, you want to sell a vision and unite people. Visions unite people, right? So you sell a vision, so people unite behind the vision. When you don't have a vision, so you sell the vision so that people can be separated. When you separate people, it's easier to rule over them. And you see that has happened significantly from the last election, right? And you then see in how the government has ruled this country. Significant nepotism, significant levels of corruption, significant levels of lack of transparency or accountability. You see that the government is very extractive without really paying any attention to being accountable to the people they want to extract from. You see that they talk about stopping subsidy payments. And there was a hope that those monies that would have otherwise been used for subsidies would have been put to make life easier for the Nigerian. Life is not easier for the Nigerian. Inflation rates are at an all-time high, right? Insecurity is at an all-time high. For the first time in decades, we're having a foreign country bombing our land, our territory, which is an indictment on the failure of our security system. And you think about how much money is spent on these things, on our army, on our military, that goes unaccounted for. And you see how corruption is rewarded by ambassadorial appointments. You know, so there's a lot of politicking as opposed to governance. And it is in quality governance, creating excellence in governance, where you are moving away from personalities to institutions. And people are now normalizing an excellent standard of service, right? So it's no more about the personalities, it's about the quality of governance. Once that starts to be ticked, right, people will start to embrace the idea of Nigeria. When Nigeria is playing football, nobody is saying that man is from this tribe, this person is from this tribe, especially if we are doing well. Everybody wants to be associated with that greatness that is Nigeria. When I finished school, I'm telling you, I went to school where you did not have to leave the school to get the best jobs. Those companies came to do interview on campus. And I'm saying that myself and all my friends that were Nigerian were rushing to move back to Nigeria. It's not that we did not have the jobs or the potential jobs. We were so excited about Nigeria at the time under President Obasanjo, what he had achieved, the quality of his governance, the quality of his ministers, that there was a significant fear of missing out. And so many people, and I tell this to young people today, that there was a time where people were rushing back from countries like America, from England, and they can't imagine it, you know? So it's about creating good governance, creating excellence in governance, and everybody wants to be associated with success and greatness. There was a time where we had governments that were very empathetic to the common man. They were welfarist to an extent. Governments like Alhaji Lateef Jakonde. And that was really the ideology of Obafemi Awolowo. It was very welfarist. So civil servants did not have to hustle for housing. They had quality housing in prime areas. Affordable housing was a priority. It was prioritizing the people that were the middle class, that were the working class. That is the role of government. But you find that now government is more fixated on producing properties or being involved in properties for the rich. Whether it is how they are allocating land, whether it is in how they are sand filling. I mean, how many Nigerians can afford to live at Eko Atlantic? I read this year where they were proudly talking about how they are sand filling and reclaiming land in some parts of Lagos for housing. By the time you've done all of that, your unit cost will be so significant that no average person will be able to afford to live there. Meanwhile, we have huge tracts of land in Ojo, Amuwo, Badagry, Ikorodu, Epe, Ibeju, Lekki, that we can channel proper urban planning, bring in industries there, and focus on creating infrastructure that makes people want to live there. And then creating local governments that are independent in themselves. So most of the major services you need are in there. So nobody's going from Ikeja to Yaba for school. These are things that cause traffic. It's like the boroughs in London. You cannot even get into a borough outside of where you pay your council tax. Why? Because your taxes are used to fund the schools in that community. So it's a direct correlation. So your child can get into schools in the immediate vicinity of where you live. And that local council is doing their best to create affordable housing, council flat, and unemployment benefits, things like that, from the taxes. You understand? And that's what is missing significantly here. You've talked about flooding. Flooding is tied to our drainage systems and it's tied to our waste disposal systems and waste management systems, right? That in itself is also tied to the traffic that we have, especially in rainy season. It's also tied to traffic outside of rainy season because if your water is not draining properly, it's destroying your roads. That's how we then get potholes. That also causes traffic. That also spoils cars, which then leads to cars breaking down the road, which then leads to traffic. So it's an entire holistic system that must be solved in a holistic way. And there's a famous saying that you can never solve a problem from the same headspace or mindset in which that problem was created. You must step out of it to solve that problem. So this problem must be solved in a holistic way. Why are our gutters still open? All these are our elites, they're not even elite. Our politicians, our political leaders, they travel abroad. Shibe, our president, has gone to, I think he's gone somewhere to Europe and then the Middle East. I'm sure he's not seeing open gutters when he goes to Dubai, right? Or England or France, right? I'm sure he knows of the proper drainage systems in these places, right? So we need to do better as the people. I even think it's wrong to use Lagos as a mirror. You cannot compare Lagos to any other state in this country. Lagos, first, was a water-facing arm for the Benin Empire at a point, which was very powerful at a point. It was, aside from the Awori and children of Olofin that came and settled it. The monarchy was from Benin, and it was a water-facing arm of the Benin Empire. Then Lagos then received all the influx of Europeans that came in for colonization. Lagos was the port in which Nigeria was formed. There was a time where all politics in Nigeria happened in Lagos. Everybody from all over came to Lagos. Think about the level of exposure. Think about the level of development from back then. Think about the level of commerce, level of finance from back then. Then you now had influx of returnees that had either paid for their freedom or people that were saved that were never enslaved.
My name is I'm the CEO Gozi Micro Insurance. Continue to watch SOUQ News.
Adenike Adeyemi, Executive Director of Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hey everyone, Majuli Obaje here representing Gigi. Keep watching SOUQ News, okay? Stay updated with SOUQ News.
My name is Aton Keme. I am the head of MSME banking. Please keep watching SOUQ News and stay glued to SOUQ News.
I recommend that more and more people should watch SOUQ News because they deal with business news.
Hi, my name is Amaka Wokolo. I am the director of the Faith Institute at Faith Foundation. Keep watching SOUQ News.
Hello, Lagos. Make we yarn.
Hello, boy, if this POS matter, don't pass your call. This go swipe, alert no enter. Before you know it, jump.
Wait, wetin really happen?
Maybe you fake alert the warriors.
Okay, so Mona listen, eh? If you dey do POS business, no expose your alert.
Hello, Ogbefi. They don't walk that road where they worry for our local government for years.
This one sweet me, I no lie you. Because you know what, development with the work, it deserve loudspeaker. Now why we dey here be that? For here, we know the abuse, we dey bring solution. My name, it is Ikechukwu Oyemike, aka Ogwefi Ishegwari.
Make we yarn every weekday from 10 a.m. go to 12 o'clock on Top the Eye 95.9 FM. We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name